friends. Welcome back to Universal Talks, where today I'm joined with Judy Kuo. She is an energy coach and healer who is highly sensitive and in tune with energy patterns and behaviors which directly contribute to our outcome, aka our reality. By understanding them, she can intuitively foresee, and some call it predict. She facilitates and provides guidance to understanding those patterns and behaviors in conjunction to providing relief and thus encouraging more long-term healing. In addition to being a certified shamanic Reiki healer, she is also a connector of worlds. She is a connector and bridge between the energetic, physical, spiritual worlds and dimensions. She uses various methodologies and tools to support one in achieving healing results they wish, whether that be relief from anxiety, lack of self-love, depression, pain, negativity, or finding their purpose, passion, happiness, health, peace, and so forth. She has many, many methodologies, but her main focus right now is Starseed activator and coach. But among that list is meditation, sound healing, oracle intuitive reading, crystal healing, shamanic Reiki and ancestral access, light trauma recalibration, angelic activation, light language activation, elemental balancing, channeling, and inner child and or past life's wound support. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome, welcome, Judy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. Such an honor to connect with my long lost soul brother
Yes,
that
yes.
we finally connected this lifetime around,
Hmm.
knowing that we've connected so many times before.
Oh, yes,
And oh, wow, it's feeling more and more like home
it
and
is.
connected with other soul family too.
With
So
the power of social media, all of us light workers have just infiltrated it, and we've used it, I feel like, for our own, for our own doing.
I know we're like, we take over.
Yes.
Not the electronics or the internet.
Right,
Like
right.
reclaim your power, right? So that's
Hmm.
what it's all about.
That's why we're here.
Um, yeah,
Yes.
and thank you for the nice introduction. And
Yeah.
yes, I am currently really focusing on the star seed, aspect of of what I'm doing, what I'm supporting, others, helping others star seeds,
Yeah.
that remembrance, and it's a journey. Some people say like, oh, just that. I was like, no, it's a lot that goes into that, right?
All
But
right.
here we are. We are not afraid of doing what our heart um, is calling us to do.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
So thank you. Yeah. And I wasn't sure if you wanted me to.
I was kind of just curious before we get into the meat
Yeah.
and taters of all of it, because I'm so excited to hear about all the Starseed sharings. But just a little context, what was young Judy like? What was your upbringing like?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. Let me go ahead. So, young Judy has gone through many traumas since I was in my mom's womb
Mm,
before I was born, right? And when I was 1 month old as a baby, I was in a way separated from my mom. My mom couldn't take care of me, so she needed help. I went with my grandmother. I was born in Brazil. For
okay.
those who think that I'm Asian, but I'm not Asian. What? Everybody's more Asian than I am. But okay, that's another story, right? For those who look Asian but don't feel Asian,
Right, yeah.
got me. Yeah, for those who are watching, like everybody else is more Asian than I am.
That is
Feeling.
hilarious.
So, anyways, a little squirrel moment, but back to
Hey,
your
I love it.
question.
I love it.
But yeah, I was born in Brazil,
Okay.
and I was basically I was born there. Was with my mom for like about a month as a baby. Then I had got set. Had my grandmother had to come and get me, and so I really was raised for like about five. Until I was five, I was with my grandparents. But
Mhm.
many of us who are in this journey, this healing journey, we kind of understand that even though like they did the best they could, we still get affected. There's still that impact in our
Yeah,
bodies, right? Traumas
yeah.
and everything. So there was abandonment issues, anxiety and everything during the whole pregnancy and everything and more. So that
Yeah.
was kind of how my upbringing, right? I was like, wow, already as a baby, I get a break. Not so much of like, go on, Judy, hop on right into your purpose. Let's get that human experience
Right.
out of the way first.
No dilly-dallying.
Oh no, no time to lose. Let's go. I love now, and now we can laugh about it because like there's so much healing around that.
Yes. Yes.
But as far as my childhood, yeah, growing up was so there was that was my first like major trauma, and then I went to live with my grandparents actually that lived in Taiwan and one of my aunts. And at the age of 5, that's when I came into a realization. They were saying, "Oh, you're going back to your parents." I was like, "Wait a minute." By then, I don't really remember. I was a baby when I was
Right. Yeah.
so I was like, wait a sec, I thought you guys were my parents, right? So I'm like, holy moly. Okay, so anyway, so that another trauma, it
Yeah.
transition there. Went back in that, and I feel like many of your viewers will relate to that, as I was being looked at as the black sheep of the family, right? Because I
Mm.
didn't really belong, um, like, and literally did not belong there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, up to that point, I really was, well, not outspoken. I would speak my truth because I was the only child when I was there. And then when
Mhm.
I came into the back into with my parents, all of a sudden I was still speaking and saying my truth, and all of a sudden the dynamics was very different, right? It's like, who are you to be saying all these things or what? And then survival mode, you get really good about knowing and learning very quickly how to survive,
Oh
if
yeah.
it's not going your way, it's not working out, right? So
Yeah.
anyways, suppression, right, of being able cannot speak my truth, cannot be myself, all of those, that falls under also many times into the black sheep kind of temp- template,
Yes.
sort of label, I guess, label.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, and then I believe it was around, when was it? Let's see, 5. Okay, so that was like, yeah, big. So from the ages 5 to around 9, I believe, it was pretty consistent as far as like, okay, I'm clearly not boss of my. I'm not the boss here. I certainly don't have any space to speak or be myself. Okay, I just gotta do whatever I need to do to survive, in this situation. Right? And then at the age of 9 is when I first have my near death experience. I don't, yeah. So
And this is
actually,
back in Brazil, right?
back in Brazil,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
And wait, how I'm trying to figure out the year. I was 9. I was 9, 9 years
I think you
old.
said it was 1990.
Oh, 1990. Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
I got my notes.
So for those of you who don't know, once you get into the spiritual world, sometimes the brain doesn't
Oh,
record all
linear?
the little.
No. Yeah. No.
It was, yeah, 1990, not that long ago.
Right.
It just feels like that, right?
It really does.
Yeah, and it's like, and just like how like there's so many talk about quantum jumping, it's like everything is just a parallel timelines,
Yes.
honestly, right?
It really
Oh
is.
boy, am I getting like really right now? All the energy coming through and flowing
In the
through
sun, yeah. You're
the sun.
glowing.
Anybody's cold? Just watch
Right.
the
Just take some.
forecast. Just
I'll
here's
take
the
it. I'll
fire.
take it. It's 24 degrees here. I'll take it.
Oh my gosh, it's probably like 60 something, but it feels like 90 for me. Yeah,
Jeez.
or 80.
I'll send you
Uh,
some cool air.
I know. Yeah, I need some ice. No, it's okay. Um, okay, another squirrel moment for those who can relate to that.
All my listeners and viewers are used to it. It's the
Yeah,
quantum
we're all
stuff. Yes.
ADHD. We try our best, but
We do.
honestly. Okay, so so when near the first near death
Yeah,
experience,
9. What?
nine. Yeah, so that was very interesting because I was at this like it's kind of like equivalent of a YMCA, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
I was taking some swimming lessons and I
Hmm.
suck at it. I would not. Oh, we might have to blur that. Then I will not say the other word, but I would just. Is that one okay?
I cuss all the time. It's okay.
Oh, great.
It's all good.
It's being real, people, being real.
Yes, it is. It is.
Embrace the things.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I wasn't really good at swimming at all. So and then there was one day I was swimming. I was taking lessons with my siblings, and then um, there was a substitute teacher that day, and he
Hmm.
didn't know that I was like not really, that skillful.
Oh,
He
yeah.
separated, he put me in a completely separate pool that was like that went a lot deeper without my siblings being there. And he didn't know about how, like, what I knew, what I didn't. He just told me, now go back swim in the middle of the pool. You cannot hold on to any of the edges, on the pool. Although he gave me a floaty, but I'm like, I don't even know. I'm not even comfortable with the floaty swimming forward,
Oh,
let alone the
geez.
back.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened. I feel like that was all intentional because that's because after that event, I pretty much like went down in the middle of the pool, and the last thing I remember was like watching the water above me, and then I have no recollection of what happened next. Like
Wow.
I have a big chunk of memory that was just completely gone. I don't even remember how I came back to my body or how
Wow.
somebody saved me and how I mean somebody must have saved me. I think because I'm alive at that time, so I don't know how. So that's kind of what happened, and
Wow.
it was definitely some sort of activation, if we're gonna put it that way, because my gifts started really enhancing after that because I
Mm.
probably did go, that I went through my near death experience. I
Yeah.
accessed the spiritual world and brought something back with me.
Yeah.
But at the age of 9, I had no idea. So then
No.
by the age of 12, that's when I realized all of a sudden I knew things or like
Mm.
I felt things, and I was like being looked at as crazy because I was like, I hear what you're saying, but I know it's not true. And then like it's like, what are you gonna say? Right? Here comes the 12-year-old and the older person or your professor or your whatever teacher, somebody supposedly wiser
Right.
who knows more
Yeah.
comes in to teach you something. And I was like, no, that's not true. Or I just started saying that.
Yep.
And again, back into that same label of like not being really being accepted. And also I didn't really know. And everything and everyone around me, like there was no confirmation that of what I knew was
Hmm.
actually true, except for my abilities of being now clear cognizance and clear sentience is like the ability to feel and the ability to know, and
Yeah.
this is beyond words, beyond logic, beyond anything. So and I think everybody knows
And
what
that's hard to
that is.
explain, yeah, because that's very similar to my story of I didn't have a near-death experience, but I was always at a very young age very claircognizant, and it's hard to explain as a child. Like I know things, but
Right, right. It's like, yeah, people think like, yeah, I know too, but no, it's not that kind
right,
of I
especially
know.
like
It's like
in Bible school,
mhm.
Sunday school. Oh my gosh, my teachers would be so flustered with my questions. They're like, "You can't ask that." I'm like, "Oh, okay, never
Because
mind.
it's true.
I already know the answer anyways. Joke's on you."
I'm just trying to shift,
Right,
get you
yeah.
out of the 3D or something.
Yes.
Okay, if you're gonna be resistant like that,
Oh my gosh. Do you
I
remember anything from that experience at 9? Or you said it was you don't remember a gap, but do you remember like anything? Like a glimpse, a scene?
you're talking about when I drowned.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I remember a lot more on my second near death experience, but let me feel into that because yeah, I really have very limited like memory of the
Huh.
first one.
That's
I just
interesting.
remember start swallowing so much water, and then my last vision was like literally the water above me and me going down, like already at least halfway of the pool or below,
Wow.
and there was nobody around. I saw like above the waters, there was nobody around because nobody, I couldn't. I guess when I went down, there was no time to even call for help because you're drowning.
No,
It's not
yeah.
like
How can you? Yeah.
people are like, oh, just call for help. Like, hello, I'm busy drowning. So how am I supposed to call for help? you know. And I know you guys all think I'm cuckoo because I am.
No, no.
Right now we can laugh about it because I feel
Yes.
that part of me, but yeah, if anything comes up, I'll definitely share. But
Yes, that's really
honestly,
interesting.
I feel like that was the way that my inner child could cope with such a traumatic experience,
Wow. Yeah.
just to block it all out,
Yeah.
right? And then that was the only way for me to kind of move forward.
Mm.
Yeah. So I feel like at the age of like 9, that's what little Judy had to do in order to be able to survive whatever that was and then come back.
Right.
There, I mean, later down down the road, much later as an adult, I told my mom, she's like, "What? You drunk?" She had no
Are
idea.
you serious?
So now, yeah, it made me think like, what did they cover? Like, who even? Because if my mom didn't know, that means she wasn't even notified. So clearly, it wasn't her that came and say, like,
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't even think I don't even know if my brother and sister, my siblings know about it. So whoever got me out probably just like cover their asses off.
I mean,
Oh
true. Yeah, that's probably true. Wow.
yeah. So we can say asses.
You can say it all, girl. You can say it all. I always click when I upload it. This is not made for children. They can watch it. You're welcome, kids. It's safe. You're going to learn something, I promise.
It's not like that movie. Meet the fuckers. Oh gosh. Woo! I'm
Uh,
out of here. And
now
then
you're giving me, I'm getting the heat now. I'm feeling it.
woo, like my ears are burning. Like it feels like I could lit up I don't know, like it feels like the size of Dumbo or something, right?
Oh my gosh. That is so funny.
Oh gosh.
Uh,
But what were we saying? Okay, oh yeah, um
NDE, yeah.
okay, so yeah, so that was for that, like if anything comes up, yeah, but as far as I know, uh,
Hmm.
nobody knew that I even went that drowned and
That's
almost died,
insane.
you
That's
know?
insane.
So it's crazy how the things that we gone through and then it's like, what? Freaking a miracle that we're alive over here.
Yeah.
Oh, but
And did you have like any abilities or sensitivities that you knew before that experience? Like psychic abilities?
I feel like when I was younger, before the near-death experience, I
Hmm.
already was more sensitive and knew certain things
Hmm.
because I had a lot of oh yeah a lot I literally always had a lot of constipation, a lot of gut issues when I was a
Mm.
child, or was allergic to certain things. I don't know the whole thing because in I feel like in the US we are I guess maybe better with like oh calling oh we got allergy and we got this and got or name
Right. There's a name for everything.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, in other countries, like in Brazil, it's a third world country, so it's like you're facing some issue. No, well, you go and take care of it. Go do what you can to take care of it. You don't
Right.
go and label stuff very much, like yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of what happened with me. And but overall, I was always pretty optimistic as a child. But I also was very, I mean, I guess I did lose my authentic voice from early on,
Mm.
but in order to, I ended up overcompensating my laughter, my smile, or always trying to be cheerful because that's what I started learning that, oh, that is acceptable. If I show anything else, like, oh, if I'm sad or if I speak up or saying that something is going on with me, oh, no, I'm not gonna be, so I just kind of overcompensated with uh laughing, smiling, jokes, people pleasing, blah, 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 all those labels.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then it was so extreme that was just mostly that nobody could tell that I ever was like in pain or sad or and I'm sure none of your viewers can relate to that,
Not at all. No.
right? Yeah. Uh, yeah, so and for some reason the electronics sometimes with all these high vibrational frequency they started like shifting and moving. I'm like
Oh
hold
yeah.
on, hey guys. It's
Oh yeah.
like okay, here we go. And then I start dimming down, the lights start going down. I'm like no, I need the light.
I'm still here. I'm still here.
What are you doing?
So you said you had a second near-death experience.
Yes.
When was that? Wait, I have it right here. You said 30, 35, age 35.
Yeah. So there is another timeline, a significant timeline that I would like to talk. That's all right with you
Please.
for
Yeah,
that.
of
Because I feel
course.
like it was a cycle leading up to that.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So let's see. Okay, so 12, that's when I started really noticing a lot more my gifts, and
Hmm.
then I had to quickly realize I keep it to myself, kind of like that,
Yeah.
how that goes. And so I
Right.
grew up. My whole teenager years went through all these transitions. That's when I came into the US in 2000,
Okay.
actually. Then there was a lot of shifts, and even in school, there was a lot of this interesting dynamics. Like I knew things and could, still could never ever speak to anyone about it. All I knew was like I'm supposed to be studying business, computer. You gotta get better with computer technology, blah blah. All these other like the typical what looks good on paper, and
Hmm.
but the most enjoyable classes for me was astrology, philosophy, all these other areas that
Yeah.
like supposedly nobody wants the typical 3D. Nobody wants you to get in those, career or area
Yeah.
study.
Especially at that time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so but I still really but that's when I started recognizing I was like, oh, okay, well this is what I need to do. I need to get that my degree. I need to get this and I'm just gonna okay, maybe I just need to be more patient, and then until something else shifts, then I can maybe do some other things that I enjoy. But I still didn't really know that I could be making money or be more abundant from doing what I love to do because everything around me was kind of like against that
Yeah.
and going the opposite way, and I get a lot of um, challenges if I were to just, continue down that route.
Hmm.
So that led to that kept going throughout my whole school year, and then went to community college in the US, went to university, got my degree, my bachelor degree and everything, graduated. And to me was like very quickly I just realized like, okay, what was the difference of me getting this like I got paid what I don't know $4 more after I graduated for I'm like what is this? This does not make sense at all.
Yeah.
How in the world am I gonna to be like making enough money or be able to blah blah blah? And in the meantime, my health, my emotional health, especially was declining and a
Mm.
decline. What did I just say? Decline.
And the decline.
I
I
said a
knew what
big
you meant. I
word.
knew what you meant.
D
D.
or descending.
Yes.
There we
Yes.
go. In our own spiritual terminology, yeah, my
Right.
health descend. There
Yes.
we go. Versus ascending.
Correct.
And so by in 2012, that was
Okay.
the mid. I guess I'll just call it kind of like the midpoint. A significant midpoint. That
Hmm.
was my first really big wake up call.
That's
Then
common for a lot of us around 2012. Yeah.
well, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was major stuff going on, and I just knew. Basically, I was in the living room and just chilling after dinner, and then my family was around, and then all of a sudden, I felt, literally felt like somebody was holding my heart,
Hmm.
squeezing it, and I couldn't pump. It wouldn't pump. My
Hmm.
heart stopped beating or something, or it felt like somebody was
It was
squeezing.
constricted. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Okay.
and then I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't barely talk. And I just like was able to reach my mom, and she's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, yeah, I couldn't even speak. Yeah. So that
Wow.
was what happened. Luckily, it only happened for a short period of time, but it was enough of a wake up call for me to at least try and do something else different because I'm like, okay, this is not working. So, that was my first attempt of waking up.
Mm.
Because I feel like that was probably leading to my second near death experience, but didn't quite happen because I tried to do, even though I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, I tried to do something else different. That whole thing led into like interesting. connections that get kind of opened up all sorts of dark entities and dark energies, right?
Yeah.
I really just still didn't know, okay, what does that mean? Like being an empath, being a sensitive. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. So I just try everything. And of course, when you try everything and you're not grounded or you don't have your boundaries, you don't have all these other foundational stuff, you just open yourself to everything at
Everything. Yeah.
yeah, so that was what happened. And so that led into the cycle of, because 4 years, right? The cycle 4 years.
Yep.
I led into 2016, which was my second near death experience. And this took place in Costa Rica.
Mm.
Um, the whole journey started towards the beginning of 2016, where I started having supposedly carpal tunnel at work because I was working with computers a lot, answering phones, doing like a million things, doing three people's job, getting paid maybe for one person's job, kind of
Mm.
thing, that
Yeah.
situation. And it got to a point where it just really, I started losing, I couldn't do the things I love because I got into partner dancing for almost 8 years. And then towards when it got closer to 2016, it became more and more of escape. So
Mm.
that was me like ignoring, like, okay, my body's in pain, all this. Okay, go dance because you're gonna get the relief. You're gonna feel better after you do this, and then, but it just wasn't working anymore. And finally,
Mm.
it all came crashing down, and I got into I got workers comp. I filed for workers comp, but for me it was extremely hard because coming from a family and people telling me like you don't show weakness, right? Supposedly weakness, right?
Mm.
So that
Yeah.
really got to my pride. I felt guilty. I felt ashamed and so much more. But I was in so much pain that I did not know at that point how I'm gonna get through another day. I could I couldn't even like brush my teeth without
Oh.
nerve pain all over my body. I was like shaking and everything. I was starting to sleep around, what was it, 2 or 3 a.m. and needing to wake up at 5 a.m. And then
Oh.
go to work, the normal 3D work the whole day, and still manage to try and do all the other stuff.
Right.
So that went on for a while until the end of December of 2016. That's when I finally realized. Oh, it was kind of like a miracle that happened. The divine intervention kicked
Hmm.
in because they wanted to inject me with certain things on my body, and then my soul and divine guidance and all the ancestors came. I didn't know that they were my ancestors and divine guidance was like they're like no, you
Yeah.
can't
Abort. Abort.
just work. You gotta be shitting me. No, 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 no. And then something
Wow.
was like, no, no, do not do this. Okay, I was like, okay, but then what do I do? What I do? I don't know what I do. I was like, just lie to them that you're feeling better, close the claim for the whole workers comp, get out of there now. Get out of there
Wow.
because basically by that time my whole body is being affected. It's
Yeah.
not just the carpal, my wrist or my hands, my whole arm, every by and my whole
Yeah. My
being.
mom had it. She had all the surgeries and everything, so I know all about it.
Yeah, and yeah, so it's
Did
just
you have any
and then
surgeries on your wrist?
no, no,
No? Okay.
no, they did not. I did not. No,
Good.
no, I was doing like physical therapy,
Hmm.
working on occupational therapy, I think it was called at
Yeah.
the time, and even the person helping me doing the stretches and whatever the treatments, I started realizing like what is going on because every person that I was encountering especially even when I was in pain, people were telling me their whole stories, all their traumas kept coming to me, and
Yep.
I was just like, how is this helping me? It's like, and I was like, okay, well, I guess it's covered by my company. That's good. It's like, oh hey, I'll help you heal, and then start poking the needles while there's supposedly you're supposed to be healing, but you're
Oh
poking.
my gosh.
And I'm just like, okay, this does not make sense. What the heck is
Right, this
going
is backwards.
on? I go, am I the therapist? this or you are? Which one is it? I don't
Mm,
understand, anyways. But finally
mhm.
I realized I was like, it was really hard. I wanted to get better, but I didn't know how. And then finally, when they gave me like the ultimatum, I'm like, okay, we try everything, because they gave me medication, all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Um, and then actually one night, I forgot my medication, and that was a really another kind of wake up call
Mm,
where I noticed the pain was so much worse than before when I forgot to take the medication. And then all of a sudden, I guess it was my higher self that came through and be like, wait a second, this does not make sense. I'm supposed to be healing. Why is it worse? Right? And then finally I started waking up like, oh, these freaking medicines
yep.
are just shutting down the connection.
Blocking.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a band-aid. And they keep
Yep.
putting the band-aids, not doing anything else besides just covering up, right?
Yes.
That's when I realized I went to the appointment and they're like, oh, we will send you to a specialist and let's see. And then that's the one that I said no because the specialist says, oh, I don't even remember the medication, whatever that they said, but they were gonna inject me with some like really big needles on my arms and wrists and blah blah blah. And then that's when I had that soul, like I feel like my like 100 different ancestors came
Right. I'm sure.
it's like, no fucking way, no.
No. Yeah.
And so then I just lie. I had to lie. I was like, you know what? Okay, this is what I need to do. I was like, oh, you know what? Well, how about this? Actually, I'm starting to feel better. Maybe I'll just get some follow up acupuncture. Can we get approved for that? Even with that, I had to fight for it, to get acupuncture, cover because it wasn't supposedly part of it.
Of
But I
course.
knew that's when I started going to the more natural, levels.
Yeah.
And then I remember one night I got home and I was crying so hard. I didn't know what to do. And then that was, I feel like, some sort of prayer um, that I just went and I literally did this in my bed and, feeling pain 24/7, like this, going through. And I said, I don't know what else to do. Like I cannot go on like this,
Yeah.
please, something,
Yeah.
and then I was guided to at the time, like basically a psychic,
Okay.
to get a reading. And I asked like a loaded question, just one question, a very loaded though, but just one little question. And she's like, "Oh boy, that was a really good question." Because people come in and like, "Oh, am I gonna be with this person or how?"
Right. Yeah.
Just one question. I want to know exactly how I'm gonna show me everything I need to know to get to my life's purpose, like what I'm here to do.
Mm,
And then like 20 cards later and a pyramid thing, she told
yeah.
me everything. I was like, oh, that was worth my money for sure.
Good. Yeah.
Aside so after that, a week after, I was still in the I got into my acupuncture appointment, and
Hmm.
that's when uh, I was laying there, and all of a sudden I felt this beautiful light surge of light going from the top of my crown chakra. I felt it. I didn't see it, but I felt it started like sprinkling all over. It went, and then now, later I realized when you get healing, that's what happened. It goes,
Yeah.
it just covers you and then goes all over. So that's kind
Yeah.
of what happened. So it did that whole thing with my whole body. And then I woke up the next day, 90 or 95% of my pain gone.
Wow.
Yeah, gone. And it's just like,
Wow.
whoa. And then later, that's when I started researching more and figuring out, like, what the heck? What was that? Because I didn't know any of that stuff, right? I didn't even believe in psychic or
Really?
at that point,
Wow.
Maybe when I was very little, I knew, but like
Yeah.
a long time, since then. So yeah, anyway, so then I was like, wow, then I got into people talking about Archangel Raphael and Archangel Michael, and I was like, oh, they have this experience. Oh, anyway, so I got into more, and then finally I was like, all right, I just closed the claim for this, through the workers' comp, and I
Hmm.
just said, okay, I need a vacation. I'm gonna be gone. And then all of a sudden I was like feeling into like, I don't know where I'm gonna be, but then I was led to this retreat that was gonna happen in Costa Rica. And that's when I hop on it, like I don't even know how I hop on because this only happened after I booked the ticket. I had no idea physically how I was gonna even. I mean, I can't even like brush my teeth without actually
Right.
let alone get to the airport or pack my luggage
Yeah.
or whatever, stuff. So, but it all happened like so quickly. Within a week, I saw the psychic. I don't even know exactly the timeline right now, but saw the psychic, then booked the ticket, found the retreat, booked the ticket, then got into the acupuncture, and that happened, and then closed the claim from the thing, and then off I went, like that.
Wow.
And then I decided to also do an ayahuasca ceremony without any research.
Oh,
Okay.
geez.
And I've always been the planner because that's how I was operating on the 3D.
Yeah.
Always for everything, you always do your research. This was not one of those times at any time,
Oh boy.
unfortunately. I know. So I went all in and it was, yeah, it was although I don't regret it, but I definitely like would never ever recommend that, like going like that, because
No,
it was extremely intense for me.
I'm sure.
And so that was second near death experience that happened in Costa Rica.
Gotcha. So it
Mhm.
was during a ceremony?
Yes.
Okay.
In the ceremony.
Gotcha.
Do you have any experience? Have you done an ayahuasca
I
ceremony?
wish. It's on my list. No. The furthest I've dabbled is like shrooms, but I've never done any plant medicine besides like cannabis. But
Mhm.
no, ayahuasca is on the top of my list for sure.
Yeah, it feels aligned for you. Okay, that's
Yes, for
at
sure.
least you
If I
have
want to go
a
like
head.
I'm gonna go with the shaman. Probably Costa Rica is one of the top places that has all the like
Yeah.
legit places. But yeah, one day. One day.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know. I'm like, oh, no heads up. Like, I don't know, but this is it. But like, I don't know any other way, so I had to do it.
Did you
For
go by
the
yourself?
yes, I just flew by myself
Oh, wow.
and no research, no anything. I didn't know anybody in Costa Rica, so I just went there. I just basically contacted the person who was, holding. So it was somebody who was living in Costa Rica, and then she was co-hosting the retreat with another lady that was in San Diego. That's
Hmm.
where it was at the time.
Right.
And then she was gonna fly in later, basically. So
Okay.
I think it was me and then some other 4 or 5 soul sisters that was there for the retreat, and then all ended up going to the ayahuasca, and I had no idea what I was getting into. All I knew was like, okay, I am very, very extremely sensitive right now. So what I did manage to do was on the day of the ceremony when we are about to drink the medicine,
Yeah.
I said, I am extremely sensitive right now. Would you mind just cutting in half or something? Because I know how sensitive I mean.
Right.
And she did cut in half, and I still went. I went through a near death experience holy mode, and I literally purged like more than I think I purged even stuff that I didn't have to purge. That's the best way to describe it. I didn't even have. I'm like, I don't have anything. Oh, see, like they did that again. They started like dimming down my screen.
Right. It's like, I'm still here.
Here, it's like, why am I disappearing? Oh gosh, 'cause we're talking about near death experiences.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, oh, and the light's going out.
Uh,
Wow.
see, they teach you patience. So they try to dim your light. It's because they're testing your patience. You
Truth.
bring the freaking light back up.
Yes. Shine.
Oh, so let's see what else. Okay, so when I was in Costa Rica,
Hmm.
and then at the ceremony, actually before the ceremony, the lady that was hosting that lives there,
Hmm.
she already recognized me. She saw me for who I was at a soul level. I didn't even know who I was at the time.
Right. Yeah,
But she was
clearly.
like, wow, okay. And then she saw all this stuff. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, sure, okay, I'll accept it. But like, and I was like, oh, actually, that kind of feels nice. Someone recognizes it, whatever. And then I was feeling all good and whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still had a lot to learn, a lot to, So we went into ayahuasca. They cut off in half the medicine that was supposed to be drinking. Um, what I did get was like, okay, the longer you keep the medicine in and work through your stuff, the more it's gonna work. That's what I heard. And I was like, all right, this is it, because I am on the road. I am going to get right into my purpose. And then my this is one of those times that my emotion spoke so much louder, and I forgot that my poor body could not handle
Ooh,
it.
ooh, yeah.
Yeah, so fire, for as long as the fire works with everything else, I think it's much better than how I did it. So not recommending that to anyone. I'm just saying that was my experience.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I needed though, because I waited. I feel like I did have the wake up call in 2012, and then maybe even before along the way,
Yeah.
and I didn't really, I didn't really. I guess I did wait until the very last minute, right? So,
Oh,
so
well.
that's what happened, right? Um, let's see here. So we were all laying down. I think there was like about 12 of us, and we were like literally in the middle of the jungle, and we did have it was covered, but it was open and exposed to like, the jungle and stuff.
Yeah.
Had the yoga mat, and laying down, had a bucket there because, for any purging. And
Right.
then there was a outdoor access for in case you need goal number two, because that's another way of purging.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't have to think time to think, but I was just like, I hope is throwing up because I don't want to have to deal with.
For real.
I was like, you're dying over here, Judy, and you're worried about whether you gotta
Right. I
poop
don't
on
want to
your
poop.
bed.
No.
No, no, if I have to go, I want to go in style. And that's important part of this essential.
Uh,
Gosh. Honestly, like I could not even laugh about it like back in the days for
oh my
so
gosh, I'm
long.
sure.
It's a
It's
very,
intense.
yeah, very intense experience, but now I can laugh about it. Now
Right.
that, so don't worry if you guys gone through something similar and you cannot laugh about it now. It's okay. I understand. I could not for the longest time until I fully healed and came into full integration with myself.
Yeah.
So what was I saying?
You're on the mat. The
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
You took the half a dose.
Half a dose. The ceremony started. There was instruments and drums and rattles and different things going on. Uh,
Beautiful.
Cleansing, incense or sage and whatnot. Uh, then I started feeling like my body, every cell of my body started like dying, like because I started like not being able to move, or
Mm,
it was just this experience where I'm like, okay, shoot, okay, now I'm like really, and that's another thing I couldn't at the time explain to anybody, because like, how can you prove your cells are dying? Like I just knew that they were. So
yeah.
that's what it was, you know.
Right.
And then, but the best way I can explain is that like all of a sudden, each part of you starts like not being able. It's like starts feeling weaker and weaker and
Mm,
disconnected from your body, and all of a sudden, it's almost like there's no life. And then this was going on throughout my whole body. And I feel
yeah.
like the whole process maybe uh of it was probably, yeah, 3-4 hours of
Wow.
that, just doing that. And then one time I wanted to throw up, but then I remember when they were saying, oh, if you keep it longer, it's gonna work better. I was like, oh yeah, keep it in there. Okay, keep it in there. And then while other people like within minutes they threw up, I'm like, okay, you didn't do anything to that. you know
Right. Don't waste it.
no, I'm like, how many times you want to do this? I'm like, I certainly don't want to be doing like 20 times. Oh, sorry. I want to learn and
Yeah.
practice them. So
Yeah.
I was definitely on the other extreme, and so I held it in as much as I could. I noticed my whole body, every cell die, and then all of a sudden, and I set intention that whatever happens next, because I felt like I was going to go out of my body.
Hmm.
It's like I still want my body to be protected. I still want to be able to be aware of what's going on around my body.
Hmm.
Um, and then all of a sudden I was up there in spirit. That was the next thing yeah, that happened. I was up there and I saw my body down. I looked down, I was like, oh, that just happened or something like I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden I thought it was gonna be super scary when whatever the next thing happened. And it was actually quite the opposite. I was so happy. Oh man,
Yeah.
oh, there was no pain. I was just like having a blast. I was ready to party. Like, I, yeah, I was ready to party because as in spirit, you don't go through all this stuff, you know.
No,
The body
no.
does. And
Mm-mm.
I was just like, oh, okay, well, yep, all right. I'm gonna go party now. Like, where are my friends? Let me go party and have a blast anyway. So that's what it was, you know, basically with that. And then finally, after a while, it kicked in. And then I guess it was, you know, I think it was the divine source, and then all the ancestors and all the spiritual guys telling me, "But you're not done." I was like, "No, don't tell me that. Go go back. No, I don't want to go back. Are you kidding?" I was like,
Oh,
oh, I'm so happy.
yeah.
Really happy. I was like, oh, that's like so okay. If I had to go through that to be able to not feel any pain, oh, like it was totally worth it. That's where I was as in spirit. Okay. And
Yeah.
like I was like, oh man, okay, fine. Okay, then it starts singing. I was like, yeah, I'm not done. Oh gosh, okay, they are right. I'm not done. Okay, can I enjoy a little long? But well, they're like, well, watch it because you don't want to be staying up here for way too long because then you might not, come back or something, right? I was like, no, just a little long.
Right.
They're like, don't push it, like don't be like going down. I was like, okay, fine, okay. Anyways, so I know at the time it wasn't as entertaining when I was saying.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Now it feels a lot more entertaining, yeah, right now. So
Right. I'm sure I'll be pretty similar. I'm like, can I just stay 5 more minutes? It took me
hopefully,
so long to get here.
I think so. Well, hopefully it's not gonna be as like intense for you, which means
Right. Yeah.
it's gonna be a little bit more smoother, and you probably have a greater experience up there than
We'll see.
more cushion. Hopefully, that's what I
Right.
hope. Because then you're going to be like more aware of like what you need to do to prepare your body and emotionally,
Yes.
all of that. I didn't have any preparation whatsoever.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
But that's what I needed to, because I needed to kick and get out of the system. That was like, that was it. I couldn't
Hmm.
go any longer after that. So that's why that happened to me, and I felt the strong calling. So the interesting thing that happened is most of the everybody's near death experience is different, or when they go
Hmm.
through this kind of experience. Some people describe about all the different things that happen. I feel like most of these wow things and gifts and realizations happened after I came back and stayed longer in Costa Rica. It didn't necessarily
Oh,
happen way up there, but
okay.
I think it's also because I didn't really have much cushion, so they knew that if I didn't come back, I'm going to be gone. And then they're gonna have to restart this whole process again. It's gonna be a lot more work.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to wait for another baby to come through. And
Right.
I was like, no, no, Judy, you're not doing that. Go now. Go back now.
Yes.
Um, so it took me almost 7 times before I could successfully come back to my body. That was how hard it was to come back to my body
Wow.
after I was up there.
Yeah.
I feel like because the disconnection, my body was so weak and everything died that it requires a lot of resilience, a lot of energy, a lot of what's the word? Resilience to really, come back here. Like if you
Yeah.
really want to come back, then you need to prove it. Kind of like it was
Yes.
like a monk's training or something that they
Yeah.
need to be like in the I don't know Alaska or something in order to prove themselves that they can handle this.
Hmm.
So I feel
Yeah.
like that was a similar situation with that. It was only like yeah on the sixth and this process like feels like took forever. Okay, but finally in the sixth time, because I went back up and then down, and then I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
tired. Okay, I'm so tired right now. Like, am I staying up? Am I gone? Am I not? What's going on? They're like, and then I only, and by the way, I only realized the lesson of that later. I didn't know that that was what what I was being tested to build that
Mm,
resilience
hmm.
at the time. So I had no clue what was going on. I just
Yeah.
get frustrated, and then I was like, okay, no, frustration is not helping me. Keep trying, and it was really hard to get a breath of air actually, and then for all the whole time. And then I finally realized went to the very basic, the very core of universal essence and the universal energy, which is like all the elements, right?
Hmm.
Fire, air, earth, um,
Water.
what did I not say? Water. Water, and then space too. There's space.
Yes.
You gotta have space in between things too, in order to successfully be able to embrace it all and coming together. So finally, I got to that core, and then on the last two or three times I was doing this back and forth,
Hmm.
I started realizing I was like, oh, I need to have access to these elements now. Okay, that's how I'm going to come back to life. By accessing. There was a bonfire in the middle of the circle. So, because I couldn't move my body, I couldn't move anything. All I could do was like my eyes turn barely. My eyes turned, and I looked at the bonfire. I couldn't move my body or talk or anything. And then all of a sudden, it was like I was absorbing through my eyes
Mm,
fire element. And then that took a long time. So that was first, just like how we get the fire from the sun, right?
for sure.
Yeah, got that. And then I was like, all right, next. Which like, I couldn't get access to water. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. So I didn't have enough energy yet. So I was like, okay, earth. Then after I got the fire, it almost like they allow me to move one hand. And I moved
Mm.
one hand to the side, right outside of the mat, the yoga mat, which was the earth.
Ooh.
I touched that. And then I realized, oh, wow, I'm getting some energy from that. So I did that for a while. Then,
Hmm.
we charged up a little bit more my battery. And now air, I mean, air, because I couldn't even breathe. So then and then it was really challenging to breathe. But I just kept it one breath at a time. And then
Hmm.
finally started filling up some of my lungs. And then all I could manage was then I was able to turn my head, and then there was one of the facilitators' assistant next, kind of really next to me, but he couldn't, hear me or knew what was going on. So I
Yeah.
turned my head, and it sounded like water, like barely any voice. And I just kept looking at him. I kept staring at him in the hopes that he would look at me. And then finally, on the third or fourth time, that's when he looked. He's like, oh, are you saying like something? I was like, that's what I said. That's all and then he's like, I'm gonna get water. And that's how I
Wow.
was able to come back to life. They took me right to the very beginnings of everything, of energy. And that's when I started going to shamanism and studying that and doing, and really applying to myself, Reiki, energy healing, all of that stuff. That's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna take a break now. I know it's a lot more detailed than
Well, no, that's beautiful. I thank you so much for sharing that. That's wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I came back to life, and that was pretty. There was so much work that was involved. I felt that so it went on until like 6 a.m. the next day.
Oh, wow.
Started, yeah. And then when we got to share, if they were asking, everybody to share something, all I could say was like rebirth, a complete rebirth. I mean, I wanted to say a lot more, but I was like, honestly, like, no, it was like words cannot like begin to describe what I
Yeah,
just
and you're
went.
still processing, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
that's when I decided afterwards. I mean, of course, I didn't know I didn't get the manual of what was going to happen after, right? Which is the purging, the real purging.
Yeah,
And sorry, I threw up right at the end
for
to come
sure.
out, and then stabilize things, into coming back to the body, of course. But after that, that's when it started the real journey. I was like, shit, oh my gosh, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, I was like having diarrhea, having all sorts of letting out,
How
letting
long
out.
did that last?
Yeah. Uh, well, I feel like physically, the biggest chunk took place when I was still in Costa Rica, because basically I had 1 week that took of
Mm,
vacation. Okay,
okay.
so I think 4 days was the yoga retreat, and then one extra day I stayed there, one extra day, and that's when I realized I need to hop on the ayahuasca. So that was so 6 days, right? So supposedly I was supposed to fly back to San Diego on the eighth day to start work on the ninth day,
Oh my gosh.
right? I don't know. But then I started the purging process, and my body was really weak. I was like, diarrhea and all sorts of other things was happening. And then so I finally like I sent an email to my manager at the time, and I just said, I am so sorry. I am not feeling well at all. I'm really weak. There's no way I can take a shuttle, get to the airport, let alone going on an airplane. There's no way. I'm really really sorry. I
Yeah.
apologize. And at the time, I still had no idea. That I was supposed to get out of there, pretty much
No.
of that job, and forget about everything else at the time. Um,
Hmm.
and then finally, it became really clear that they're dimming my light again. Stop it. uh, Mischievous little.
They
I think
are.
it's a reflection of me because I'm mischievous. So, anyways, I mean, I'm
Ooh.
a little,
Yes.
just like you. We're both little angels.
Yes,
Just
we
like,
are.
oh, okay, yeah, right. Um, so that's when I found out very quickly through my interactions with my manager and the whole system.
Yeah.
They didn't really care about me. They said, no, you need to be back. You do not have any more vacation. I mean, I still had plenty of sick days. I was one of the employees that when everybody was getting sick, I barely took 1 day off from the whole year.
Yeah.
And I would always cover for everybody. And then so for them to say that, it was like a complete heartbreak, and the reality really hits, because that was the only time that I really needed to get a sick day, or sick days, and they
Right.
wouldn't give it to me, even though I had it. I still had it on my, I guess, the payroll, whatever thing. I still had sick days to use,
Yeah.
but because it wasn't approved prior of me going there, I should have just said, "Oh, you know what? I'm dying actually. So see
Hey.
you later."
Right.
Alligator. But of course not with this tone, though. Okay.
Yeah, right. Like, I died.
Um,
Does that not matter?
I guess not. Okay, fine.
Like, what was the process then from transitioning from the corporate to healing?
Feeling. So yeah. So once I realized what happened, that they really just treated me like a number,
Yeah.
became clear to me, and then I just basically, they gave me the ultimatum, and I said, okay, well, I guess I quit then. I had no other choice, because they
Wow.
wouldn't let me take my sick days off and come back later, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
and I later I found out like they didn't want to. Actually, they didn't want to fire me because she was a pretty new manager on her position, and it would
Hmm.
have made her look bad that somebody under her supervision like did this, to the company.
Uh,
So and I could not get her to stay in her heart space, because I was asking her. I was like, I'm not doing this on purpose. This is what's going on, and I've worked so hard. How I am. And then ultimately she's still like, oh, this is what HR had to say, said, and blah blah blah. Like, so unfortunately, so it became back to a robot
yes.
came into the.
Yes.
So I just quit, and then I was like, you know what? First time in my life. You know what? I do have plenty of money. I'm just gonna extend my stay here in Costa Rica, But of course, I wish it was more of a party, sense with
Right.
actually because it was all the purging and all the stuff. I was
Oh my,
feeling everything, everyone.
yeah.
At least I was in Costa Rica, so when I was feeling, it was more of the nature that was feeling versus. So I think that helped me really get
Oh
the
yeah,
feeling
for sure.
started and
Hmm.
really enhance and amplify that. Um, and so the transition between the corporate was when they got cut off when I said I quit, right?
Wow.
And then I stayed longer for actually I ended up staying for a whole month at
Oh
the
wow.
jungle location in Costa Rica. And then throughout that time there was all the purgings, and then all of a sudden my gifts started like coming like crazy, like intuition, my higher self is like, oh, was so tapped in, it was unreal. And I was led to different locations. I was led to all of a sudden walk at nighttime because I had a path from where I was staying. It was like an Airbnb, like it was small Airbnb, but super cozy. They offer like papaya and pineapple every day,
Oh
like
yum.
the real local,
Yes.
I was like, okay, yeah, I'll eat my freaking papaya every day, no problem. Although I was like, although I'm going number two, plenty of that, but I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know, the papaya is probably gonna help too.
All that fiber, yeah.
I was like, too good of too much of goodness as
Yes.
far as fiber and all this stuff.
Yep.
Um, but I was, so one significant moment from this transition was me going into being led at nighttime in the dark because there's no city lights and stuff like,
Hmm.
unless for except for occasional city lights on the main street. If you go around on the back or somewhere else, there's no light. Like it's
Yeah.
like you're in the jungle and it's in the dark,
Yeah.
unless you have a headlight or flashlight or something like that. So
Wow.
I only had one little flashlight that was up here, and it literally pointed to one single spot. That's it. It did not do anything else. That's all I had. Again, I did not have any preparation going into coming to Costa Rica.
Yeah. What an
I had to work.
experience.
Yeah, so I worked with what I had.
Exactly.
One single spot. The next step, okay, you step here, and that's all I can see. I cannot see
Oh my
anything else.
gosh.
But it was very, this calling was so strong that I was
Mm,
meant to come out at night after dark, walk into that path, and go to the beach. That was
mm.
very clear. And even though I was like, it was scary as shit because I never done anything like that, because all the programming. No, it's dangerous when you go in the dark, and then it's dangerous when you go out at night. It's dangerous when you go out by yourself. And blah 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 blah. All the fear, right,
Yes.
from the conditions, right?
Yep.
And um, I went and walked on the back, went to the ocean, the near ocean, and started connecting. And all of a sudden, I saw coconut come float from the ocean to the shore.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I knew everything was, I was being guided, everything had a purpose, everything had a specific meaning for why I was being led and everything. So they were saying like, telling me coconut water, go drink more coconut water.
Oh,
Yeah. So the shore brought me coconut, the coconut shell. I was like, first I was like, because I was still in my logic and my
of
3D. I was like,
course.
ew, doesn't smell. What am I doing here? Like, you brought me this spoiled coconut. What is this? And they're
Oh,
like, oh, she's got a lot of work to do. Okay,
yes.
let's give her another sign. Okay. And then, so again, audience, okay, people, I did not know, and I did not have all the clear, like, oh, hey, you need to drink coconut water. I didn't have those specific kind of guidance, All I had
Right.
was the
Yeah.
coconut, and I was supposed to interpret what the heck that means.
Wow. I
So
love it.
finally, I found out I was supposed to drink more coconut water, magnesium, start minerals to hydrate and get my
Mm,
body to have that, right? And then
mhm.
the next thing that floated into the shore was a dead fish, actually.
Huh.
Yeah. So I was supposed to be eating fish too.
Yeah.
And the fish also, I believe there's other representations too, right? I think there was one that's a fertility too, I believe.
Hmm.
some sort of fertility symbolism.
Interesting.
I have to look up more, but for
Yeah.
me, that's later. That's why it got translated to. And
Hmm.
so for me, it's like, oh, I need to fertilize myself and start, you know, and then I need to bring in more fish into my diet and be able to have that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so and then all right, that was done. Started walk, and I was guided to walk back, and all of a sudden I was walking in the dark back into my path with that one tiny little, just one step. That's all you can see. Just and then see, even that had a
I
symbolism,
was
right?
gonna say that's a symbology right there of just like pin focus versus seeing the broader.
Just take that one step. That's it.
Yes, that's all you
Stay in
need.
the moment. In the
Laser
moment.
focus. Yes.
Exactly, which a lot of us don't because we have all this like thinking, fear, and blah blah blah, and then we
So
don't
much.
stay in
Yeah.
the moment.
Hmm.
So I did, and then all of a sudden I felt presence right behind, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, who's behind me?" I just like I freaked out, and I was like, I went back, I turned back with that one single one. There's nobody there, like, but I'm feeling it. There's something there. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And it was all around me on the back.
Ooh.
It was like a big peacock's feather that was like
Yeah.
smaller like this.
Yep.
That's the range of the energy that I was feeling on the back. And I
Wow.
did not know what that was and scared the shit out of me first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, who's there? Who's there? And they're like, oh, okay, maybe she wasn't too ready for us to show up at once. I was like, oh, I was like, yeah, maybe not, but okay, I'm gonna go on a fast pace over here. So,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so I was like, okay, keep going forward, so I step, and then I heard a shout, stop. And I was like, oh, and I stopped like right when I heard it, and I was like, what is it? Me down, and there was this the most beautiful green insect, and there was a big leaf coming out of this tree, and it was like lining up right where I was about to step forward because I
Yeah.
couldn't see, anything
Right.
except where I'm stepping. That's
Yeah.
it. So it was like this, and then this beautiful, beautiful green insect right there,
Ooh.
and was looking at me. And he's like, "Oh, you heard me," and I was like, "Oh, now I'm going really cuckoo."
Ooh.
I didn't know about any of this stuff that you could talk. And so telepathically, I got it, and I heard it say stop, and I stopped and then like, oh, thank you for not killing me, pretty much.
Yes.
I was like, sure thing. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm losing it right now. What the heck am I gonna tell anybody about this? What the heck? Anyway, so this is like Comedy Central Awakening edition, so
And you said you were alone this whole time. So even when you extended your stay, were you going through all of this alone? You had like no support system or no one that you were talking to?
no, no one. The only people
Wow.
I engaged and connected was once in a while the people that I was renting the cabin. It wasn't a cabin, like it was just I don't know what they call it, but basically they have many small little, just picture like small little cabin that only has a
Yeah.
room and a restroom kind of thing.
Okay.
Uh, and then they face the outside, and then they are just next to each other. So the
Right.
only people that I engaged once in a while was the people that live there, or yeah, pretty much. And it was right at the beginning of December, so it wasn't a tourist. There wasn't tourists or people visiting, so it wasn't around the holidays yet. So
Hmm.
it was really peaceful, and there was only two people that were renting the things. That was it. And at that time, I actually like, yeah, I didn't even have the energy. I didn't have connection with my family, nothing.
Wow.
Um, and even when they tried to, I think at one point my mom or somebody tried and message me because my phone, didn't really work when I was in Costa Rica.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I try to use for something, I guess it will charge too.
Yeah.
So depending on where you are on the area, you don't get connection necessarily, or
Hmm.
very limited. So where I was staying, if I was lucky, I'll get like maybe half of one bar or one
Oh,
bar. That's it. That was it. Yeah.
it's kind of a blessing too.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Well, at the time, I didn't know, right?
Right.
Anything about EMFs. I didn't know about all these other things. But now, like,
Right.
yeah, it was a blessing for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
had to wank out of me because I was not, I was stubborn, right? Up to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's when um I stopped and then I went around and I got back. But and then I finally started figuring out what was going on behind me, this
Yeah.
presence,
Yeah.
energy. And I was just like feeling from top to bottom. And then I was like, oh, my ascended masters. Those were my ascended masters
Mm,
that all of a sudden show up because I went through all the purging, I went through the ayahuasca, I went through all of that. And
yeah.
they showed up loud and clear. I mean, I guess they already were there. It's just
For
I
sure. There's just blockages. Yeah.
yeah, I
Or
aligned.
veils. Hmm.
Yeah, I aligned my frequency enough that
Hmm.
now I can feel them, you know.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much a blast, yeah. But bam, here we are. Like we were here the whole time. You just didn't
Right. You just
listen.
tuned your frequency like the radio station. Now here we are.
Yeah, I turned from like 0 to like 100 at
Yeah,
once.
AM to FM. Yeah. Oh, it's actually music. It's not just boring people talking. Like we can actually
Oh, oh my
like
gosh. Centuries since I even turned on radio. I don't even know what's going on in
same.
AM.
I know it. I know.
Yeah, anything interesting on AM? No,
I don't think so.
no. Oh gosh.
So like your ancestors, when you said you felt their presence and it scared you, did they back off or did they just stay? And it took you a while to realize who they were, or did like they back off? Then you're like, wait a minute, I'm ready, come back.
No, they were there the whole time
Yeah,
after, like when I was starting walking, and
yeah,
then I for the insect. They were still there, and then when I was scared, they didn't leave. But I just had to refocus and realize, okay, I hope that I know what's going on. Like because I
yeah.
asked them, like because I did ask them, like, okay, who is there? But I think they wanted me to continue feeling their presence before giving me the answer so
Mm,
that I can get past that fear and keep moving forward versus just focusing on what was going on in this energetic
right. Yeah.
presence, which I did because then I experienced the insect and then I got back to my little area, the place. And that's some point after that, that's when uh, I got the clarity that they were my ascended masters.
Mm.
At that point, I didn't really know enough. I still had a lot to learn as far as my what it was all about. But
Yeah, you're getting like a crash course
oh gosh, yeah, it was like literally you jump with no parachute and you have to land this safely somehow. And I'm
on
like,
the X. Yes.
yeah, like round the edge of this thing, and then there are needles right there, but you gotta levitate right before you reach right
Hmm.
there.
Yep.
Yeah, anything's possible. I'm like, what? That's not what I've been told my whole life. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let me feel like if there's anything else that was coming through like so that was a big part of my transition.
And did you
And
take the training for Reiki and all that there, or when you got back?
no, that was in San Diego.
Okay.
But I feel like the phase 1 training, everything happened by me just staying and living in Costa and being there in
Yeah.
Costa Rica for a whole month.
Sounds like it.
I
Yeah.
started realizing the land, the energy of the land. I started realizing all these stuff that, like for example, like okay, because when they start getting closer to the holidays, there's more people, right?
Mm.
Because certain areas we have certain amount of water, so you're aware of that, so you don't go and just let water running like whatever,
Right.
like oh I pay for this place, so it's like you pretend you think you own the place, like no, you get to visit the place and they get to share the energy with you. So
Yes.
all this stuff I started realizing when I became like started connecting with the locals, and I didn't really go to any like touristy areas at all. I was just going to where I was led, which was all local people and local food, like mom and pop, or like the lady who have a house on the back and she has a little stand, and if you want, she'll cook you a meal kind of thing, and then you
Yeah.
pay a little money or something like that.
Hmm.
Those are the experiences I had. But then from that, I'm pretty sure I got activated by the locals, and really started seeing things for what they were. And even the dogs, they run around. They are free to roam around. Like
Yeah.
for example, the mom is like living here, and then maybe the kids are living with this, but they go and they just go on the road. They don't have need permission. They just go. Oh, I'm gonna go visit my mom, and then maybe come back for dinner or whatever. It doesn't matter.
That's
They know where
beautiful.
home is. They know where to go
Right.
visit, whatever. And when all the cars started coming through with the tourists, it was very interesting. I quickly started learning all these lessons and realized, like, oh my gosh, this is where I was coming from, thinking that just because I'm here, like I own them, or like it was very um just very not opposite of being conscious about what you're doing, right? And
Yeah.
it was just like, and then all of a sudden it's like starting feeling protective of the land and the dogs and the people there, because it was like, excuse me, who are you to say the dog shouldn't be, in the street? You need to slow down when you're driving.
Exactly.
I was just like, like started
Yeah.
like becoming more of the vocal. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just a yeah, unforgettable experience. I
It
never got to
sounds
the
like it.
super party, party energy, because I was still going through a lot.
For
But
sure.
I do feel like I will go back again at some
I
point.
was going to ask if you would do it again.
Yeah, I feel like I will. Yeah, I don't know yet when the alignment is
Hmm.
going, when it matches, when there's alignment. Yeah, I do feel like that, but I feel like I'm just gonna be so much different. It's gonna be like
Oh, yeah.
settle down with what I already have going on right now and build up my
Yes.
business and all that stuff, and then I'll be in a much more stable place. And then the difference I'm going to be able to bring to the land
Mm,
and also get to share and co-create something will be, I think you're just going to be way better,
I
amazing.
agree. I can feel that. Yeah.
And what was your last question? I think you
I asked like what your training, like how
oh
you
true.
stepped into the healing world.
Right. When I got back into I guess US,
Hmm.
I actually did make another stop before I got home, because for me, I have no reason to go home. I don't really want to go home.
True. Yeah.
It's like just dragging a little bit, buying more time.
Yeah.
So I just went to connect with some supposedly an old friend slash occasional dating person.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anyways, I'm not going to too much detail about that, but I did ended up seeing this person, him, and boy, little did I know that I was like, no, this is the time for me to integrate and do stuff. Here I am, exposing myself, right?
Yeah.
So, but that was a learning experience, and I just like, but I also like, I could feel my heart chakra was so open that scared people all
Yep.
the time. So, because he could feel it, like, and then all of a sudden he was like, whoa, like people get triggered. So none of that stuff I didn't really know. I didn't have a manual about any of that stuff, and so I guess it's like, okay, learn as you go, kind
Yeah.
of. You know?
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I stayed, and it was close to San Francisco,
Okay.
around that area. So I got to stay with this person for a little bit, and then I went back to San Diego finally when my reality started hitting that I have to go ahead. Anyways, um, got back, and then there was a lot of logistics that need to be taken care of on my physical reality.
Hmm.
I ended up having to pretty much shut down my family, lost all my friends from my dancing community,
Really?
any social things or anything, people that I knew. Started realizing when I was asking for help, like it was like nobody was there.
Mm.
They
Yep.
still wanted something from me, but the thing is, like, they didn't know, because that's what how I was. I was a people pleaser,
Exactly.
always giving. So to them, it's like, oh, okay, you want me to help? I'll come help you. But then all of a sudden they're telling me their stories, which is really their traumas. And I've always
Hmm.
held space for everybody all around me, whether it's family or people outside. So to me, that was just way too much. It was like too hard for my system. And nobody
Yeah.
understood, and I could not communicate or tell anybody about that because of anyway. So I ended up losing everybody. I shut it myself off from social media, any social media. If I had, I think I only had Facebook, maybe a little bit. That was it.
Yeah.
Um, and then I started the path to. Then I was drawn to Reiki. First, I knew yoga needed to. I needed to do something revolving around yoga. But my my physical body, even though I healed 99, 95% before going to Costa Rica, all the symptoms started coming back actually
Mm,
after, after I went through my after I came back actually.
really?
Mhm. Because that was just a temporary solution to get me there to do what I needed to do to awaken.
Yeah.
But that was not the solution because you still need to fully, you need to start healing. You can't just like have a miracle pill and expect that it's gonna be good and dandy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. So that's when I got into, I learned, I was like, oh, because I only knew yoga as like part of the gym, when what they did. I didn't really know yoga for yoga
Yes.
until I started learning about it. I was like, oh, okay, I cannot make any movements or make any postures, do any postures. But there was a form of yoga that was really about you just connecting with yourself and just sit there. And so I was like, that's pretty much all I can do, honestly. So
Yeah.
let's do that. And then Reiki, got into
Okay.
Reiki, did the first training of Reiki level 1, and then something felt off. I didn't do the second one, and then I got into shaman. Then I was guided to shamanism,
Hmm.
and then I found somebody else, and he was doing shamanic Reiki
Mm.
attunements. Got that. Then he was doing certification or training for that, and then that resonated, and then I did. So I got certified in shamanic Reiki, and then
Okay.
I got in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, what else? Hold on, more water.
Yes.
So
This is all
yeah,
so fascinating.
I'm like you talking.
It's on my list. I will talk after about the shamanic Reiki because that's on my list of something I would love to explore more. Because I already kind of offer Reiki, but I would like to hear the shamanic Reiki aspect of it because I don't know if I've really heard that.
Mm.
It's really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I wasn't even thinking about it. I just like everybody knows about Reiki. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that sounds really healing and it's natural because I really never got diagnosed with anything technically from the um, Western medicine doctors. Nobody ever could find anything. They just they just was like running the surface blood work. And I was like, oh, everything looks good. I was like, did you run for the autoimmune conditions, autoimmune system, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm in so much pain. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
I know something's wrong with me. And nobody
Yeah.
believed me because all my skin, this Asian, supposedly this Asian skin, look the same. So that was another training that I experienced, firsthand on my own experience, is the culture. That's what it was. You focus on the appearance. If your appearance
Yes.
looks good, or that's why the makeup, all that stuff will cover everything. If you look good, then everything is good, right? And boy,
Hmm.
did that. That was the first time in my whole life that it worked really, really against me
Yeah.
younger or looking having this Asian look
Right.
because I was dying on the inside and people all they saw was this.
Wow.
And then they treated my and they expected me to go help other people
Yeah.
because I look young.
Yes.
Like I can barely walk, 5 minutes with a cane.
Right.
So, but sorry, there was a jump. No, jump back.
No, you're good.
um,
I'm keeping up.
okay, so shamanic Reiki, right? Was it?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
So the shamanic Reiki, yeah, it was. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I feel like you do carry some of the essence of compared to the one that I actually got certified. The person who I got certified from, you
Really.
guys have like a little similar. Yeah. Do you also have some Laren? Like they look like lions.
I've heard that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have a
that's
lot of
what.
galactic connections for sure. Lyrian,
Yeah.
Pleiadian, yeah.
Okay, Lyrian, yeah. So I do feel like, yeah, because he also had that. But back in the days, I didn't know anything about Starseeds, and I don't know if I, haven't been connected with that person for a long time now.
Okay.
Yeah, but the kind of the essence feels similar in some ways with you, with your.
Really?
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's interesting. Anyways, shamanic Reiki. So yeah. So
Yeah.
I got certified on that, and then I was taught the typical symbols, and this is what
Mhm.
you do. The whole like what you do, you smudge, like the whole process like
For
that.
sure. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, take it in. And then I was just like, okay, the symbols, and I could not remember the freaking symbols
You're tricky.
correctly. I
Yeah.
had to like keep looking, and I was like,
Hmm.
something is off. And then just like how I realized I wasn't going to do Reiki level 2 or be a Reiki master, that I got out of there. That same thing happened after I got certified with shamanic Reiki. Then I was like, I had a feeling that I'm done with shamanic Reiki. Yeah, honestly, like that's what happened. I was like, okay, but do I have the symbols now? Maybe I need to take repeat the course or the training or the certification.
Right. The human brain's like, I need more. I need more. Yeah.
I need to make sure I'm like good, good at this, because especially if I'm going to be helping myself and then later hopefully other people. But
Right.
that up to that point, it was just helping myself
For
to be
sure.
better, to get my health back. Basically, that was a
Yes.
journey. But
Yeah.
I can't seem to remember the symbols like strike by strike. And I was like, and I remember not enjoying that much when I
Yeah.
was little and learning Chinese. I was like, oh, so many strikes. I remember that. I was like, I never really, unfortunately, didn't really enjoy it. It wasn't for me. So,
Yeah. No, I'm the same with words. It's just there's too many
yeah.
words.
A, B, C, D, and they all get the same. And then you use the A, B, C in different words. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, no problem. Okay. But like all this other character, I don't
Way
know.
too many. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, no, this doesn't feel it's not for me yet. I was like, okay, well, I got my certification. I will still apply on myself. I still go to the e-healing. And then I was open to see what's next, right? And that's when I realized my gifts got enhanced as far as the knowingness and the feeling, right?
Yeah.
Clear sentience and clear cognizance
Hmm.
really enhanced even more now. Because I once I went through Reiki and the shamanic Reiki, I think whole nother layers started peeling off, and I was able to integrate some of the things I've experienced also in Costa Rica more fully. Right?
Mm.
So and of course, we don't always, it's hard to pinpoint when, what exactly, but
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
the idea of like, okay, it's coming together, something's coming together. So I did, and I started getting acupuncture more consistently. I found somebody who, again, it was completely different than my past, where I would do research, look up professionals to see if they are good at what they do, their degrees, blah blah. Now I was like, no, no. Like every time I would go for and find acupuncturist or somebody who had natural, like holistic, modalities,
Hmm.
they couldn't listen to me. I was telling them something, and then it was almost like, hello, I'm like, hello, are you there? Can you hear what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Then because there was a lot of emotions going on, and
Yeah.
it's out of whack, completely out of whack. I could not hold a conversation like this, not even a minute,
Huh.
without like shaking or feeling really agitated. It was like nonstop like that.
Okay.
And finally, until I was guided to this crystal store. That's when the dad owned the crystal store, and then he had a son that was running a acupuncturist practice on the back of
Oh,
it.
cool.
He happened to come out, and he introduced me to his son and said, and then all of a sudden I was like, saw this light, because I didn't know what it was like. I thought I had a crush on him or something. Oh my gosh, boy, was I wrong. It had nothing to do with it. Oh, I feel
Yeah.
so silly after I realized what it was. Just
Hmm.
like, I'll see you. I was like, oh my gosh, we're meant to be together. I was like, oh my gosh, no, it nothing to do with that. But as you're
I
going through
do.
the
I do.
process,
Yeah.
You being in such a low density, the first person that you see light, you think you want
You're
to like,
so attracted. Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm gonna marry this person. It's like, what? No. So, anyways, but I'm just being authentic because that's how I felt. I thought I
Yeah.
had a crush on the guy, blah, blah, blah. But it was just his, it was not just, I don't mean to diminish, it was his light. And
Yeah.
that was the starting, of like, oh, there are other light workers, there are others like me that,
Hmm. To
anyway.
give you a
So,
taste of what to look for or what to resonate with or to even know
yeah,
it's possible. Yeah.
yeah. And of course, at first, I wanted to latch on to him like crazy.
Right.
At first, that's the first phase.
Give me more. Give me more.
I was like, oh yeah, I used to, yeah. Oh my gosh. So okay, so eventually, because he worked with me and he was the first one that actually listened to what I had to say.
Okay.
So at that point, I really did not care what his credentials were. All I care was that if you can listen to me, then yeah, there's a possibility you can help me with what I have going on. If you can't even listen to me, I don't care if you have golden stars, you went to Harvard, whatever.
Yep.
It
Yep.
doesn't matter. You can't listen to me. How are you supposed to help me? And that was another training, another
Yeah.
realization, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what's going on in the society on the 3D. People
Yeah.
think, yeah, paper does everything. Like, no, that's crap. I mean, that's crab.
It is.
Crab,
It's
crab, crab,
poo-poo.
crab,
Poop.
crab. Right? We should say, what's it? Motherfucker and crab.
Oh, I love that.
So we're here today to teach us alternative ways of saying words. That's what
Motherfucker.
this is the podcast is all about, anyways, right?
I love that.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
My cheeks. You got me
I know.
smiling so hard.
Oh, we need to do a massage.
Oh.
Um. Oh wait. Is this gonna go on the recording?
It's all people love it, or I'll cut it out. It's okay.
You know what? I don't care. It doesn't
Mm-mm.
matter. Yeah.
One of my
We'll
favorite
just
things.
well, just being real, because honestly, what happens here is what happens in the daily
Exactly.
life.
Yeah, I know.
Um, okay, what was it? Let's see.
Um, your spirit lover friend, guide, teacher,
My crush,
your
my
crush,
like my
your
little,
your light and shining armor.
my little, my little inner Judy girl, distorted, trauma, trauma based little girl
Yes.
was seeking approval
Yep,
and to have a crush. Okay, anyway,
pretty much.
but whew, I was just like, whoa. I was like,
Yeah,
and for a second, I could barely speak when I saw it. I kid you,
really.
yeah. And then I was like, oh my gosh. But it was his light, because I had
Hmm.
experienced that. So then anyway, so I ended up, so he was the first one that was able to listen to me. So then I said,
Yeah,
you know what? I'm going to work. I actually I was always afraid of needles. And at that point, it's like I can't get any worse because I was in a pretty bad shape, So
yeah.
it's so because all my symptoms were coming back, like I said. So it's
Wow.
like, no, there's no easy way out. You need to be healing those. Right? I
Yeah.
was like, I'm like, I'm gonna go back and party.
Right.
Yeah, okay, it'll
Mm-mm.
work. All right, got it. Let's go. And then so anyways, so even with him, I was trying to see if I could get approved for disability and different things, or get some kind of compensation for the situation that took place with my work and
Yeah.
and the fact that I couldn't get any help from Western doctors or any benefits really. I pay insurance my whole life, health insurance, car insurance, all kinds of insurance. I'm like, and now that I really need it, like I couldn't use anything.
I
Like
know.
nobody will even. So that was like to me, that was another big lesson, right?
Yep.
What are you paying for it? Are you really safe? Are you really insured?
Exactly.
When you really need it, what happened? you know.
Mm-mm.
Um, so, anyways, and then so I just he was nice enough to give me like sliding scale. So I just paid the very low end that I could have, that I could do.
Yeah.
I actually had some money, but because I didn't have anything else in my life, including my physical strengths, or emotionally wasn't unstable, all of that. I needed to make sure I have some extra money to, I don't know where I'll be living next, if anybody will rent a place for me, so all of those questions in place. um, so he did what he could to help me, and it did help in a certain extent, but I also knew that wasn't it, because I mean it was, the symptoms was like really intense. There was a lot more to it. So
Yeah.
that's then I started really going to the study of the shamanism, study of Native Americans. I started like, it's basically connecting like the energies of different things in different places. Like, so I started bringing, okay, Reiki, energy healing. Okay, no, okay, forget about Reiki. Just focus on the energy healing. All right, shamanic. No, forget about shamanic. Just focus on the Native American studies. Okay, narrow down to the elements. Okay, narrow down to the elements. What do I do with this? And then I started like, it's kind of like dissecting everything, kind of like
Yeah.
the great minds where they start doing this, and then
Hmm.
together, but nobody else understands what the heck is going on. That's what I so that's what I was going through, a lot of period of that, and then connecting things a lot. So that was like part of my training, honestly, like because I didn't have any, like people kept like random people that I will encounter during these different stages will tell
Yeah.
me, oh, you should get a maybe you can be a Reiki master and this. But to me, it always felt like very much in a box still for me. I mean, I'm not saying like it wasn't right for them, but for me, it felt like that, and it just doesn't resonate. Everybody kept telling me like, "Oh, you should do into a metaphysical school to learn more about this." And I'm like, first of all, I don't have the health to. I don't know even how I will get there, and then also it didn't feel right for me.
Mm.
I just started realizing this is not the path for me to go into any traditional education, even if it's like metaphysical school. And everything that they were talking about, like, because I looked it up in with some of them, I was like, I already know this. Why am I going to school for this? Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. Like,
Yeah.
my knowingness was telling. I was like, I already know this.
Right.
It looks familiar. I already done this. I've been there. And then people that were claiming to be shaman, and then they never actually went through like life struggles and have to overcome certain things that I went through. It's like, why am I learning from this person that actually never went through a death experience, never went through the ritual of these things that a actual shaman goes through in order to become a shaman.
Yeah.
Right? So I started like all this stuff, like the training. I was like, oh, more aha moments. Oh my gosh, oh, blah, blah, blah. I'm bursting everywhere. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to share. Like, how, oh my gosh. Anyways, so it was, but I think I was feeding off that because I enjoy having those realizations. It was just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is so amazing. I'm so glad I'm getting all this confirmation. And because now my powers, my gifts were stronger and bigger than ever, before this was.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I started collecting all of that. And then I started realizing that I needed to come down to earth. And that started my other process. I need to ground myself more because I realized I really, in order to, I was really running away from my traumas, right?
Yeah.
And in order to really heal your traumas, you have to come back to earth. You can't just be accessing a bunch of
Yep.
stuff. And you have to apply, you have to bring it down.
Yep.
And that's, yeah. And that's our, so I think maybe I'll finish the first part is like leading up to the beginnings of my starseed journey. You
Yes.
know, so what I will say is all of that, and then and really facing my worst, the dark night of the soul, whatever they call it,
Oh yeah.
several of them back to back. um Having a lot of sexual traumas, a lot of like self-confidence, like all the different chakras, all the traumas and all the chakras. There you go. That led me to finally realize, oh, there's no, I'm just really escaping, because and I understand why I'm escaping, because it's really hard to deal with those. So have to ground, and that really started, and I was like, okay, they led me to the path of walkings, Right? You know about walkings or no? Do you know about walkings?
Like a labyrinth? Like would you?
Walk and then in.
Oh, walk-ins. Yes.
Walk, yeah.
Yes.
The walkings, and then there's also soul merge,
Yes.
which is like two souls
Yep.
in this one body,
Hmm.
right? So I was led to that next after I realized I need to work on my body.
Mm.
And that started opening up more, realizing, oh my gosh, something happened in Costa Rica where there was some kind of exchange, but I didn't know that took place. It
Yeah.
wasn't because my body couldn't handle, like I have waste already way more than plenty to deal with. So I
Yeah.
feel like that's when divine finally introduced me to walk-ins. So I started learning about that first. I didn't know.
Mhm.
I thought I was like, oh yeah, I'm integrated. Yeah, I feel new, blah blah blah. Please, I'm so far from it. I just know a lot of things way ahead. Doesn't mean I'm already integrated.
No,
No.
no.
And yeah, and that's what I'm here to kind of assist and help people because we know so many things ahead, and also we have the tendency to go really up high in dimensions, but we don't realize that we still have a lot to catch up on this physical body to be
So
fully
much.
integrated, because
Yeah.
that's what we need to do, integrate both.
Yeah.
And that is the Starseed um, journey. And even at the beginning of the Starseed journey, I was going up there a lot,
Mm.
but I was not bringing it down here. And I
Yes.
was attracting, I was being led to places, groups, and social media, and all the people that were only also going up there. And then I kind of depleted myself. I was shocking my whole system and everything. But anyway, so I had to like start learning. But it was the way to starting my star seed, recognition,
Yeah.
remembering who I was at the soul level as a star
Yeah.
seed. Yeah.
So it's up to you. Before we wrap up, do you want to talk more about just your own personal story, your practice, how you work with clients, or do you want to give a little sneak peek into what we're going to talk about next time?
I'll give you guys, the audience, also a general understanding, a little bit of the star seed,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
and the kind of like my take on the purposes of going into that star seed journey and
Yeah,
what has happened.
for sure.
So what I will share at the moment to part two,
Yes.
there'll be a lot more to
Yes,
share.
everyone stay tuned. Like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, all those things.
That's right. Embrace your craziness because it's not really crazy, but use discretion as needed, of course, in different situations.
Always. Always.
Like, pick your fight and pick your battles. That's what I would say. That really, really helped me along the way when I
Oh yeah.
started realizing I don't need to say or share everything with everyone because not everybody's ready to
Nope.
hear that or to receive or to vibrate at that level, at that consciousness. And that's
Yeah.
okay. Everybody's got their journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what really started opening up for me after I was led into learning more about walkings,
Hmm.
about soul merge. So first it was walking, and I thought it was a walking, and then until later it unfolded more, and I realized I was soul merge. I still had that old soul with me. Many
Yes.
people, you may notice, like that has gone through some extreme or really intense experiences, and they might be a walking, and all of a sudden they either have like supposedly amnesia, or don't they don't know anything about their past life, or they stop talking to anybody and everybody from their
Yeah.
previous before to that point. That's most likely a walking because they're here now and ready to go on to fulfilling their mission, their purpose. And so they are not here to waste time into like still having that connection with the old world,
Yeah.
that so and then I learned the difference for me, that I was like, I don't know, I'm not quite there because I still talk to some of my like blood family, not as much, but I do still, connect with them. So
Yeah.
then that's when I found out about soul merge. And of course, it's a bit more, I'm not gonna It's not a bit. It's more challenging, at least in my view. It's more challenging because it's like you're raising your vibration, but then all of a sudden you're being pulled to this old
Mm,
energies at the
yep.
same time. So you gotta have a double dual purpose.
Yep. Like a tug of
Raising
war. Yeah.
raising your vibration, creating, letting go of the old within yourself, and then stepping into new creations of what you're doing as the new soul, right?
Hmm.
That has more ability, are stronger, are more capable of handling all that stuff. And then you have the old soul that, if you're not careful and you don't heal those wounds, you can go back into that. And then it's kind of like if somebody's drowning, like, and they're drowning you and they won't let you go and they keep drowning you while they're drowning. It's like,
Yes.
no, you cannot do that. Like, you have to have a solid something. And
Yep.
so that you can help and save, not that we're here to save everybody, but
Right.
that's kind of the analogy though, right?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
don't let them dragging you down to
Hmm.
where you're trying to get out of there.
Yeah. I use like the lighthouse analogy of like you need to be a lighthouse with a strong foundation and be that beacon of saving, but you can't leave the lighthouse to go drown to save these people.
Yeah.
You just need to
You,
stay. Yeah.
yeah. You from the lighthouse, I would say, like you said, you can shine from
Yes.
from where you are. You
Right.
can shine the light,
Correct.
and the light will start reaching, and then people make their choices whether they want to. Oh, here's where the light is. You're
Hmm.
welcome to come. I mean, you don't have to, but you can welcome to come. I love I would love it for you to come because then you
Absolutely.
know experience of what it's like,
Yeah.
so you have that, but you don't force anybody because
No, you
it's
can't.
the very thing that got us into this matrix and 3D reality is we've been forced all our lives to conform to fit programming.
Yep.
Anyways, so that's what I have to say about the walking. So that's a
Yeah.
kind of like the general of how that was the bridge between where I was. Okay, now I'm on the path of trying to really ground and heal deeper my core wounds and traumas and all that, and trying to, all right, how do I regain my health and vitality and start, okay,
Yeah.
I want a life again, basically
Right.
life again. So from walkings and so much, that topic opened up more doors, and then I didn't even know what a star seed was. All I knew was, all right, there might be more than just, I mean, I already know, like, me and this is spirit, but I didn't have, at that point, didn't have the connection to the star system, the star seed, aspect, which is like, okay, oh, there's Pleiadians, there's Arcturians, there's Larians, there's
Yeah.
Andromedans, there's like all the Orion, or no,
Hmm.
Sirius, and so many other more,
Hmm.
Um, so once I started diving into the star seed, I started realizing, oh, okay, there's more opening up. There's so much more of me, of my soul. So I started working simultaneously, also with my body and grounding and healing that and getting to be stronger
Yeah.
as I was starting to remember basically who I was at a soul level. So that's where the star seeds started coming through.
Okay.
And I was led to get a star seed reading,
Mm.
somebody specifically at the time, and I was told that I had, origins in, I have Pleiadian connections, or Pleiadian connections, Arcturians, some Orion, and Mintaka.
Mm.
Do you know
I
Mintaka?
have not familiar with that one.
Okay, so Mintakas are now part of the Orion constellation,
Okay.
but because they lost their home, their original home, they're very much like kind of like the mermaids, oceanic feel,
Ooh.
but their water element and their that the kind of feel was much lighter. It's not the ocean that has the ocean here on Earth. It's heavier and it's more a little bit more dense. There's more
Yeah.
density to it. Over at their original home, it was much lighter. But because of that, so many other you know how that goes. Even like on Earth, right? We like kind of want to control,
Yeah.
what's good, blah blah, and then you take over, and guess what? You just kill the very thing that you
Yeah.
enjoy because they cannot be themselves, right?
Right.
Right. So, although I'm not specialized in like really elaborating about each star seed and star system, I do have a good sense. And for me, like my strength is really helping connect, and then bringing that in to see, okay, which one you perhaps have the connection and who wants to come through. So to be opening that channel so that whatever it is, the energies or the codes, the activations, and the downloads that needs to come through is, if it resonates and it's aligned with your soul's path, that's kind of what I facilitate as now that I've been massively called to stepping as in this role as a starseed activator and coach. So I
Okay.
utilize the day-to-day practicality, the humanness, and also bringing in the a starseed aspect. So once we start taking care of the traumas and the densities, but I work at multi-dimensional level where I am bringing, while we're tackling some of your human traumas and or emotional traumas or physical traumas, I'm also bringing in the wisdom from the stars
Yeah.
that you are connected with directly. And then once there is less of a gap where we're prepared, but I hold the space and I take care um, of you in a way that we want the body to be on the same team. We don't want to just leave the
Yeah.
body and only go there and then and then
Right.
yeah. So basically, yeah, with the starseed, the benefits is, first, you are really connected to your soul. And what that means is when you're connected and you start remembering who you are at a soul level, that's what the starseed work is for me. Like when I'm doing this, uh, it helps you shift anything and everything in your current reality in this human physical body,
Yeah.
because it was never meant to be separated. So it's
Correct.
basically, the overview is like we're taking your human body and we're working towards taking your human body and your astral body that's now far away due to traumas, due to wounds, due to programmings, due to you name
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
EMF, disruptions, whatever, and many other things.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're bringing it closer and closer together so that eventually they can be one. They can be fully integrated as one, because that's where they're meant to be in the beginning
Yes.
already. It was always meant to be together. The human, as starseeds, we come here, so you may not know about starseed, but
Mm-hmm.
many of us who are light workers, healers, empaths, sensitives, and however other names there is,
Let's
you
go,
name
man. Yeah.
even people with people with special needs, autistic people, they're
Yeah.
very highly sensitive. They have like, yeah, but it's just that everything and everyone around them don't understand that they are really precious. Like they are powerful healers, they're
Oh,
powerful
yeah.
star seeds. It's just that like everything is like it's kind of going against what nurture or nourishes them. So that's why it
Yes.
becomes this
I
is
agree.
really challenging situation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm coming in with that humanness, and so that's why I integrated so much of that my humanness, and then my astral body, the starseed aspect of me. So now I can operate one time and operate at all the different levels.
Mm.
That's what I'm here to do, to help other people, support them through this process so that they themselves can get to that point. And once you get to that point, there's also, of course, different levels of that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like kind of like more the beginner stages is really tackling the foundational aspects of what your body needs, what your emotions needs, so that we can have it a little bit are better off to be able to receive with more flow what the starseed aspect is wanting you to receive.
Mm.
Otherwise, you're just gonna reject it, pretty much if you're not ready, and you will overload the system. So that's
Yeah.
why the whole process about that. And with that, starseeds are highly connected to light language. So these are activations, these are codes that are of light that is very high vibration, high high in frequency.
Hmm.
And what that does is, I guess I'll just make it simple. I'll never make it simple. Okay, so I guess in a nutshell, light language, how I would say, is the language of the soul.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's how it really helped me, like, sinking without having to have a lot of words or a lot of other things explaining.
Right.
You don't need all of that. I mean, you can always research and go into more, because that's how I vibrate. I'm not focusing on kind of like, okay, we have the light, right? The light bulb. I don't need to understand how the electrical system and the wiring works every time I need to turn on the light.
Yeah.
I can benefit from the light and what it does. Of course, I am aware that there's a whole electric system and it's not an easy process behind the
Right.
scenes. But if I'm here and wanted to focus on getting here and in talk to you on your podcast, I certainly not gonna spend hours and hours trying to the wiring system, and I don't need to, and I don't want.
No, no.
But I certainly appreciate everything
Sure.
else, right? That
Hmm.
led to me having this light and this, resource. So
Sure.
it's kind of
Yeah.
the same thing with the star system. Like for me, I'm not the person that goes like super super in detail, but I'm the one who's going to help you like get to that point, and then you
Mm.
open up passages, and you're welcome to go as deep as you want into any area that you want. But for me, my purpose is to help connect this. And then once you have this bodies uh, connected, then you can access your powers, your gifts at a soul level, what you're meant to be utilizing. And then light language and light codes, those are really high. In a way, it's kind of like high technology that helps
Mm.
you heal and helps you upgrade your system, your physical body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. It helps you upgrade to a level where now you can maybe click, do one thing versus, okay, I'll heal this. Okay, abandonment issues. There may be a light code specifically for that,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
For different timelines, right? Because we vibrate at different dimensions and multi-dimensional beings, right? So we may have one light codes or a set of light codes that we can bring in specifically for that I can bring in specifically for that, and we
Hmm.
can give you. And of course, I don't guarantee, because it's all divinely guided. I don't guarantee it's going to be one session, two sessions, or whatever specific sessions. That also has to do with how much work you do, and are you resisting that, and so forth.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but it can be as quick as you have one session, two sessions, and you get the right ones with that high technology, that high light code activation, and bam, wow, instead of you're healed and you get to that next level
Mm.
versus years and years of traditional therapy.
Yep.
So when people say like, "Oh, if I'm charging this much, hey, that's a lot," I'm like, if you think about it, it really is not.
It's nothing. Yeah.
Years and years of pain, suffering, of traditional
Yep.
therapy, and then
Medications and side effects and yeah.
yeah, the quality of people, the quality time that you're wasting around your loved ones by being in pain versus healing that and being able to create and start living life. It starts thriving more and being happy and being appreciative of everything you have, and
Yes.
empowered into doing what you're here to do. And it's not just to do what you're here to do. You're gonna actually enjoy and love what you're doing, because it's what you're meant to do. And
Hmm.
what you're meant to do is always being connected to that love, and that we're always meant to really be happy and really thriving, and not
Yeah.
be in a miserable situation, like the
I
human.
know. It's confusing to many that like our natural state is joy and abundance. It's like, what? What?
I know, and then because we're so far off, and then also this is why, because it got separated from the more traumas over and over, the more programmings that we are exposed to, the more of these conditions, and which we know there can be a few of them
You
contributing.
do. Just a handful.
There's a few like we can, yeah, probably fit into way more, right? So we all know, and I'm kind of like make light of this whole situation, because it's really about refocusing on what you can do. CAN, what can you do to shift that,
Yes.
and don't let the mind or the ego keep telling you, oh, you can, because that was in the past. That was in a different timeline.
Correct.
You can do anything and everything. Like it doesn't. It's not. Anything is possible, pretty much, and that's what the work I'm doing now is to bring that forward, and then
Mm.
to start helping people with that. And then once we kind of start connecting, then everything can heal and everything can shift just like that. So, anyways,
And do you speak the light language, or do you just write it down, or how do you use the light
oh, I
codes?
forgot about that. Yeah, thank you. Good questions. That's why I leave it up to you. Ask me all the good questions. I'm not always best
That's
with
why
the
I'm
questions.
here.
Good. Okay. Um, so with the light language, yeah, there are many different forms.
Yeah.
The ones I know, I did start with because I do sound healing, right?
Hmm.
So now I only do sound healing with light language because that's
Oh,
the
okay.
path that I'm at. It's like I can't separate the two because I'm already more integrated. So there is no separation.
Mm. Yeah.
So I started with chanting and then kind of saying things would come out of my mouth. That the more I was connected with my soul and my starseed origins,
Hmm.
all of a sudden I would start speaking something like that. I something come out and I was like, oh, like in the middle of a sound healing. And that's
Oh,
when I
wow.
realized. So that was my first way of expressing light language and bringing in the light codes through me. That got later it evolved into, I forgot which one was the next one. I think it was like chanting yeah, I was chanting slash speaking. They were both
Okay.
around the same time.
Okay.
Um, Started speaking, started chanting, and then I didn't really know what was coming through, what they meant. I didn't really have clarity. And then the next stage was to try. I was like, I would love to understand what it means or what is the purpose or whatever, because there is quite a handful of people that sometimes do light language and
Yeah.
they just bring it down, and that's fine. That's all there is. And then
Hmm.
people will see in the art or they will hear it and then, oh, that felt good, and that's it. But for me, my purpose was beyond that, was actually to dissect and connect to whatever the person is going through and be able to, like, kind of like the coaching side, be able to explain and elaborate and help connect the dots for them and how this can benefit, and if you do it this way, if you connect more with this, then this is what you do, or you can reinforce it. Like basically the purpose and
Mm.
the clarity. When I started asking divine, and with time I started being able to do that too. So now I
Okay.
do both the channeling, I'll bring it in, and I can also elaborate what that's for and for what, and what are the benefits, or is it helping you purge certain things or what. Basically more
Yeah.
detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I started drawing, drawing like
Cool.
codes. I guess it's not language because at that point you're not speaking this. Well, I guess
Right.
it's still language,
In a
but in
sense, yeah. Yeah.
written form. Um, so I started drawing the codes, and then it started coming randomly. Again, it was the same thing. I didn't really know. Like, oh, that's cool. I was like, what's that? Okay, that's cool. Okay, I'll just draw this, color that, do this. Blah, blah. I was like, ooh, it feels like some Egyptian writing or
Yeah.
something else or whatever. And I was like, oh, you think about it, yeah, Egyptian time, like they all have all sorts of, and those
Yep.
are like light codes in light language.
They are. Yeah. Oh, the hieroglyphs. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then I started, I was like, oh, I want to know what that is. Then I started receiving the ability to be able to interpret all of those too, just like the speaking and whatnot.
Mm.
And then that led to, what was it? Oh, that led to me integrating and also learning how to integrate light language and light codes into the healing. For example, okay, we can be the simpler human part of healing could be, we're dealing with abandonment issue, right? But in order to fully heal as a star seed, you need to tackle at multidimensional level. You can't just heal this one timeline, because
Hmm.
it's not just this one timeline that the symptoms, that you're experiencing, the traumas, is not just from this timeline.
No.
That's when I can also bring in the light codes and light language specifically from, let's say, Egyptian timelines or
Mm.
like slavery. A lot of slavery in
Oh
Egyptian
yeah.
timelines.
Oh yeah.
So you could be experiencing something that has nothing to do with what's going on in front of you. Could be from a timeline, from Egyptian timeline
Yeah. Exactly.
that is parallel with your timeline, but you can never heal unless you tackle that timeline and other timelines too. So
Yes.
with the light codes and light language, it can bring all of that specifically guided to bring specific codes to help you heal those. So then you heal it once. Oops, sorry, I'm knocking things down now already because I'm already on the other timeline. So anyway, so that's just kind of an example of how can it can work.
Okay.
And bring a set of those, or sometimes depending on what your system can take and whatnot,
Yeah.
then you can bring it all in there and then be able to help you tackle those timelines. And then all of a sudden you're like feeling amazing. So yeah, you
Right.
realize it's because now we're tackling all the different timelines
Right.
that has connection to slavery or to self-sacrifice or to abandonment issues or to attachment issues, right?
Yeah.
Or
Or
yeah,
persecution's a big one for me and my clients. A lot.
yeah, not
Mhm.
being able to speak, or you were burned as a witch, for example,
Yep.
we're
Yep.
speaking, the truth, all of that, right?
Yeah.
Um, and addictions too, all
Mhm.
these don't know how to deal with that, right? Because you're not just dealing with emotional stuff from this timeline. You're dealing with so much more. And
So
so when we
much. Yeah.
tap into the Starseed, it opens up so that we can see more clearly. Oh, there's all these other things going on, but you don't have to do the healing for each one at a time. I will help you get to the core of what it is that's
Mm.
causing all of this to different timelines. So it's kind of optimizing the time and energy.
Yeah, for sure.
Like why am I going to like? But again, I'm not laughing at anybody who is doing that because
No,
I
no.
myself went through that, and I had to I kept tackling one at a time, and then it kept coming back and coming back and coming. It was like,
Hmm.
and then you wonder like, I was wondering how come I'm not healed. I
Right.
dealt with this
It's like
already.
weeding without actually getting to the roots of the weed. It's just going to keep coming back. Just keep coming back.
Yeah, and although it's not our fault because that's how the system and the 3D is set
Yep.
up to
Hmm.
keep us in that loop, that
Yeah.
rat loop of going, because they want to make more money out of us, right? And they
Yep.
don't want to really resolve, as opposed to us who going to the Starseed journey and that we are healed. Like we want to help more people heal
Yeah.
because we want more people to start, becoming more of who they are. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like my purpose and my heart, where my heart stands as far as what I do, with everything that I just shared with you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Any
That's
questions?
beautiful. So, like, I probably should have asked earlier on, but just for those who aren't fully aware, how would you briefly explain what a star seed is?
Oh yeah, that's important.
I'm like, wait a minute, I don't know if we touched. I would imagine people listening and tuning in
Yeah.
would have an idea, but just for those who may not.
Right, right. So a starseed your soul and your spirit, your essence, has origins coming from different star systems. So it's not just from here, from the Earth.
Hmm.
So it might be coming from the Pleiadians, star system, or from Arcturian star system,
Right.
right? And a lot of the times people can relate to not necessarily just that, but they usually relate to the fact that they don't feel like they're home. Like
Yes.
they don't feel like this is home. Like, where's my home? They don't feel like they belong. Those are really some really obvious. I don't. It's not symptom, but like obvious uh feelings
Yeah.
of how we feel as a star seed, and say most likely then you are a star seed if you're feeling
Hmm.
like you don't really belong here, and it all it takes is just that. I'm
Yeah.
not feeling like I belong, then you can always also look it up more. There's tons of like YouTube videos, free resources.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
something I don't go into super detail, but like, yeah, those are the things that will help somebody get into that journey
Hmm.
first. And then there was some other one. Sometimes, yeah. For example, you feel like you have capability to, you're here for something much bigger,
Mm,
you know? You're
yeah.
here for something much bigger, right? You're always, yeah, you definitely always want to feel like you want to help others. That's a big one, you know?
Yep.
But like it's a combination of a bunch of those all together, really, you know. I don't
Hmm.
know if I actually never I will be honest, I never actually look it up to see if there was like a set of like, oh, these are the must have for Starseed, you know, more
Oh, yeah.
I
No.
never looked it up.
Mm-mm.
But many of us, once we start going into those, you know, what I just said,
Hmm.
you start resonating. It's like you have this resonancy that's like, yeah, I never felt like I belong here. I've always felt like I know more than or others. You know,
Yeah.
I always felt like I'm here to help and do something bigger. You know, and this is
Hmm.
so small. I'm feeling restricted.
Yeah.
Like, why am I being restricted into these space or these concepts when I'm like, kind of like you, eh? When you says like, I already know this stuff, and you were asking, you
Yeah.
know, you're trying,
Yeah.
you know, you should be the one teaching them, right?
Right.
Right? And yet they're like telling you, I'm like, but no, that's not
That's,
true.
yeah, that doesn't add up. No.
Oh, it doesn't like, okay, all right, you want to talk about logic? Still doesn't add up. I don't know what you're talking about. You
Yeah.
know, so those are all clues for you to start like, so if you already resonate, you know, or you watch this far, or you're already a star seed, honestly. You don't even, you can
True.
just go and look it up further if you want to. And then if anybody wants to work with me, yeah, then yeah, hop on the journey. You know, I love to help and support. But yeah, yeah, I'm trying to figure out, remember if there was any other obvious ones that are really like out there.
Hmm.
Um, well, I guess the sensitivity, but
Yeah.
like a different level though, like oh,
I would
like
agree because a lot of people fall in the category of empath, but that's not necessarily the same. Because I feel like a star seed is just more, it's
necessarily,
awareness of just more. Like there's just,
yeah.
for me at least, even all my life, I'm like, there's more than this. This can't be it. Like this can't be it. Like,
Yeah, so like being sensitive, it doesn't begin to embrace the sensitivity the star seed goes through. That
yes,
makes sense? Does that
it
resonate?
does. It
Yeah,
does.
so it's kind of, yeah, I think that's a little bit closer. But
Yeah, I like that.
like I said, like okay, light language, right? It's the language of the soul. It's not something that you can put into exact words, or it there is no limitation because most of us, like we're speaking English, we're speaking, I don't know, Italian, Spanish, you know, any other language, like you have a set of words and you have a set of how you put them together, how you speak together, or you shift. There is none of that in light language.
Mhm.
And then, okay, some of you may ask, oh, so then how do we learn light language, right?
Yeah.
You don't learn light language. You already know at a soul level
Mm,
how to receive. And then eventually, once you get to that point, you already know how to speak the light language if you're meant to be speaking and
yeah.
bringing in those codes, then you already know. But the way you get started is you get activated by
Mhm.
somebody else,
Mhm.
another star seed, who already went through that and who has the soul, also the purpose to help others remember. And that
Yes.
is what the process is. So that's what I do. Like for example, I'm the star seed activator part of me
Hmm.
is the one who's going to help you activate to open up the channel to that higher consciousness that you always had access, but because of all the distortions and all the interference and blah, 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 the million
Yeah.
things that are going
Yeah.
on, you can't even begin to even you try and get like I don't know like one step and then you're like backtrack like 1,000, then like how
Yep.
are you ever gonna get there, right? You can, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so I think yeah, that would be one of the questions I definitely had at the beginning.
For sure.
How do I speak? I don't, and I try to. Oh, I try to use the mind. It's not of the mind.
No,
No,
not at
you gotta
all.
let it go because people try to copy and say, or they try and copy the symbols. I was like, oh, believe me, I'm not even thinking what I'm drawing. It just comes through my hand and
Yeah.
or it just comes through it, and then it's about keeping your energy flowing and
Mhm.
keeping it balanced and raising your vibration and all of that. You know?
Love that. Fascinating.
Can you
Thank you so
imagine that was
much.
just the general?
Yeah. I'm curious, like maybe next time, do you ever do light language outside of working with clients? Like maybe you could give a little example next time.
Oh, how about I just give you an example now?
Sure. Yeah. If you're
So for
open to it.
example,
Yeah.
so maybe I'll just do something simple. So basically I always start with the intention. That's how I go
Hmm.
by. I
Okay.
set intention and then just let it come through, basically.
Okay.
Actually, how about this? Let me ask you, because I know people who are connected with you are going to
Hmm.
resonate with this too. What is it that you feel like you could get support on, as far as like upgrade, what area or maybe even areas, or something that you feel like you could get some upgrade and support, but not at that human level. You know what I mean? And
I
take your time.
do. I'm thinking like like
What are you feeling? Your heart.
I've shared like very clear cognizant. I know things, but I've always wanted to be more, I want my clairs to be more heightened. So it's always my intention to be like, show me visuals, speak to me, like I want more clairs, if that makes sense.
More clear.
So I'm so
Okay.
sensitive, like I know shit, I know things. I just want to like, I
Yeah.
want to see it, I want to hear it, I don't have that.
Okay.
It's weird, but
Okay. So how about whatever other abilities and gifts, besides the knowing, right? Maybe
mhm. Yeah.
um that needs to come through, that is aligned with your highest, higher self, with your
Mhm.
highest self, actually. Highest on the top,
Yes.
tip at the top,
Yes.
okay? Tip at the top. I know, because higher is like, I realize like, oh, there's so many higher. Because right
There's
now you're
many
lower, so
levels.
then you're gonna
Yep.
go higher, and then there's a higher one after that.
Yes.
Like, no, no,
Highest.
high up there.
Yes.
Yeah, high there. Okay, so if it's aligned with, for you to get the visual and all the other ones, they will come through. But we'll set like the infrastructure, sort of. How's
Okay.
that? And
Yeah.
like, and then this could apply. So I'm not gonna go in, I'm not specifically, doing super customized for you, because I don't I haven't worked with you, and know all the energetics, and it would be irresponsible of me to do something like that in
Yes.
a short amount of time. Okay.
Yes. Thank
So
you for
I'll do it
saying that.
general.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the general one, so that way others can receive that too, have an
Yeah.
infrastructure to have more open, okay, so more open so that they can access those other gifts, and all the gifts that are high aligned, or get to that path in a balanced, loving way.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
intention. Yeah. Okay.
Love
Uh,
that.
okay. So with that, let me feel into it. If it wants, it may come through all the different forms. I don't know, honestly.
Okay.
So let's just take a deep breath together and ground the space and everything, and just let it come through.
Yay.
Take a nice deep breath. Inhale through the nose, bringing in that love and golden light into your heart. And at your own timing, you exhale through the nose, slowing down your breath with each inhale and exhale, following that path of bringing the golden light into the heart, and then releasing through the nose or through the mouth if there's something that needs to be let go of. Let's do two more breaths like that, okay? Onanarase, shomokiranore, shikiranare, sobakiri, shikamarane, sokaharirare, shikimanorare, chokirasere. Ono kita no sera shokare. Summa ona kirate rare 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 rare. And then there's a little part 2 to kind of finish with that. And I'll
Okay.
just speak it. Omo sono ene kirata nela. Sema ono ke shete mo oro kote. Sema ono kone he seto ne ke letone. Shekemara ono kone. Te ka ana sono olo ke tepo o konane. Ke shedepe e ke ala no ke. The surrounding, the infrastructure for that. And
Mm.
then, and when you're receiving, you're just breathing more, right? Into your heart and let it out, let the flow come in and out and out. And looks like there's one small piece now. Sheta ala anatose kine omo kono sate ala kono o nekete. Sheka ala ana sonoko ne epe piteke. Lakatepo no seka la no ake niko. Seke moro o no kete. And then thank you.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, thank you.
That was beautiful.
Oh yeah, and that was a little bit more on the feminine, the
Yeah.
feminine energy. Of
Hmm.
course, at times it'll be like masculine,
Oh yeah,
it's
there's so many different ones. Yeah.
so many different ones. But because we are setting the infrastructure, and like Mother Gaia,
Hmm.
you wouldn't have anything growing and anything built up without that infrastructure, which is the feminine energy, right? That's
Yep.
how it starts with everything. One thing before I forget to before we go
Yeah.
is make sure every time we're receiving, whether it's energy healing, Reiki, or like, but especially with light language and light codes, uh, anybody who has worked with me know that to make sure you're honoring your body and drinking lots of purified water and clear water.
Yes.
First, it will help you purge out anything that the codes, are washing away for you that's
Hmm.
old, that doesn't serve you. And then at the same time, will facilitate the integration of those codes into your cellular level. So this is DNA upgrading
Yeah.
work. Okay.
Yep.
So this is like a
Alchemical
higher
healing, as I call it. Yeah. It's
yeah, you
all
learn that.
alchemy. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, say that again. The last thing.
Alchemy, alchemicy, or alchemy, alchemical healing. Alchemy.
You just came up with a new word.
I
Okay, I'll put
did.
it in my vocabulary. Yeah, so I mean, and even if I come in like say like very light, it's like it doesn't take away the effectiveness when you allow yourself to receive and do the work, because and I will say, yeah, this is not for somebody who is like right at the very beginning, who has no idea about what an empath is, or anything about healing modality. If they don't even know about Reiki or energy level Reiki, which is later, much later, I found out is kind of like the very basic. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not saying not to diminish, but there's so much.
No,
And
no,
many of us who think we're just doing Reiki, we're actually not just doing Reiki. So there's
no.
more. So, yeah,
Yes.
something to keep
Yes.
in mind. Yeah.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
and do you need me to share my contact, or is it, or you
Yeah,
want
I
to?
was just gonna ask if there's any last messages before we wrap up this part one and where everyone can reach you. I can't believe it's already been almost 2 hours. That's insane.
Wait, was it, when did we?
We
Oh,
started around 7 and it's almost 9. It's 9:40 my time now. Yeah.
oh, okay. That's why the other talk that I had was, I was like,
Todd, yeah, it goes hours. Yeah, it's hard for me to keep track of time too because I'm just like, wait a minute, this part two, part two.
I know for the sake of our own bodies, right?
That too. Yeah,
Yeah, went on it. Yeah, no, last time I had a talk, it was like 3 hours. It felt like it was one
I
hour last.
believe it. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things I love about this so much. It's so fun. So fun. So any closing messages or sharings or thoughts?
Closing messages, I guess, for Starseeds, for anybody who know that they're Starseeds, who are already, starting on that path, or we're open to even hearing about this. that means you're ready to hop
Yes.
on, because it's
Yeah.
time. Okay, because it's time for. So the message is it's time. So I'll call this everybody star seeds.
Yeah.
It's time for star seeds to step into their power and to start remembering who they are, because more than ever, this is what we're needing on Earth, right? For
Yep.
humanity, not just for humanity. This is for you, for yourself, and is to come back to that self love. And then when you come back to that self love and really truly start vibrating at the frequency and consciousness of who you are, that is how this is how you support, and this is how you love everybody around you. This is how you help them. But
Yes.
when we are vibrating at that trauma level, we think we're loving somebody. Yes, unfortunately, I know it's a hard pill to swallow. It was hard for me to hear this, but we
Yeah.
are not really helping them. We're disabling
Um,
them, right?
yeah.
Just like we're disabling ourselves.
Yeah.
So if you have any alignment and resonancy with what we talked about here, I encourage you, whether it's, like, of course, you're not allowed to work with whoever resonates, but it's not about just me. It's go start looking for people or any information that you're guided to that resonates. That's what's gonna help you, and that's
Yeah.
what's true for your path. And then
Mhm.
for those who resonate with me, yeah, come on over. Let's work together. Of course,
Yes.
And I, yeah, have so much to thank Ken here. Kenneth, Ken,
You
Zen.
call me whatever. What'd you say? Ken Zendang? Is that my
Oh,
Ken?
yes, we came up with your new name is Ken. Oh no, Ken. Yeah, Ken Zen Dang. We should have a vote. See what your viewers. We have the other person.
Yes,
Should I
my
put
many,
the
many evolutions. Yeah.
But yeah, dang. See, this is what happened. Like we started going off. What was I saying right before that?
Closing messages. I think we're at the point like where can people find you if they want to work
Oh,
with you,
that's
learn
right.
more
That
about you?
was the message. So they can find me through my website, which
Okay.
is https / thriving hearts with a S united dot canva dot site. I know it's a
Okay.
little different. I had to like
I'll
find
put,
the
yeah, all
site.
the links will be in the description too for people who just want to click on it too.
Yeah, perfect. And then all my
Yes.
information there. Of course, I do all this by myself right now. So if there's any update that needs to be on the website, gotta try and make if I can find more time.
Yeah.
But so excuse any humble, simple website, but at least for now,
Hey, it works.
there. And my email is thrivingheartsunited@gmail. So if you want to just send me an email, you can.
Okay.
And then please, yeah, just refer and say that you found me through Ken's podcast here. That would be lovely.
Yeah, that would be
Okay.
awesome. Yeah. And also comment below if anything that we shared today has resonated with you. And if you made it this far, thank you. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good jazz. And
Oh
one of the
yeah.
fun, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I forgot. And then on Facebook is Judy Kuo, Kuo. That's it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll link that too. Awesome. And one question I usually ask during the end, just for fun, even though we have so many already amazing topics, is if you
There's
had a if you had a superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it to help humanity?
oh my gosh. Wait a second. I
Yes.
just one. That's
Just
okay.
just one. You can do next time you can do another one.
So I because I already have a bunch of superpowers. So now I have
100%. 100%.
and so if I had one superpower,
hmm
what would it be, and how would I help humanity with that superpower?
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Well, can I pick one that I actually have and I think is super cool?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That I feel like it has some negative connotation in regular 3D
Ooh,
matrix
okay.
system, but I
Okay.
turned it around to use it for the good. Yeah. So one of my abilities is being a shapeshifter.
Ooh.
Yeah. So people like that makes me a really good connector of different
Mm,
worlds, connector of different energies, connector of understanding things and putting together for myself and for others.
yeah.
And but I feel like being a shapeshifter, maybe in some movies or certain contexts, have been seen as
Right.
something bad.
Like the
That's how,
trickster. Yeah.
yeah, like, oh, you're here to manipulate or whatever. But But here's the thing, we all start somewhere because I definitely had shadows, lots of them, you know, and then the more work I do and more healing I do for myself, I found out that this is actually a good thing. For as long as I keep connecting to my heart and coming from that pure place, then
Yes.
you can do such great things with that ability, right?
Yeah.
Being able to come and connect with a child who is maybe having some trouble or going through and have nobody, just kind of like, I wouldn't want somebody like, because I went through that, right? And of course, all the love with my blood family, but they also have trauma, so they don't know any better, right? So
Yes.
and then so all the love for them, but to have gone through that and the consequences of not having that, right? And
Mm.
maybe they don't connect with any adults, maybe they don't connect with any children, but as a shape shifter, I can also come into that space of,
Yeah.
okay, what is it like, to be somebody who can help this child at this time versus me being an adult. Maybe that child needs a friend, a child friend. So
Mm.
I can be maybe tapping into that and shifting to that a little bit more, and that, okay, and maybe a teenager is going through addictions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I did have some sort of addiction, but it wasn't in the sense of like drinking or smoking, but it was a sexual addiction.
Hmm.
know? How
Hmm.
I broke free from that, thank goodness. But when I was in it, boy, was it tough. I had nobody, and constantly people pleasing, constantly taking other people's junk, junk energy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be able to shift and be very adaptable and shift into that energetically. And sometimes even in my body, I have heard people say that, oh, you look so different, because I shifted into that specifically shape and form for a purpose. And
Mm.
then I'll shift back more into myself, which even myself is like multidimensional. So it's like
Yeah.
really hard, so anyway, so I feel like, yeah, that's one of like my one of the biggest superpower I have embraced and used for the betterment and to help humanity, and the various different challenges that is now ever changing and shifting all the
Mm.
time, and can be really hard to keep up, but many of us who might have that ability too, what we fall short is because we're never taught. We just think, oh, we have supposed to be doing this and adapting all over. No, you need to be grounded, you need to tackle your own traumas and be centered in order for that gift to be used purposefully and actually help betterment, for the betterment of humanity.
Yes.
Otherwise, it goes the other way. Just like how much it provides benefits, it can go sour and all the other way.
Real quick.
Right? Which
Yes.
happened for me in the past. In the past, that was me. So, anyways,
Yeah.
oh, that was a really good question.
That's
Never
a
actually
beautiful
thought about
answer. I've never heard that. And like you're making me think, 'cause I used to call
it.
like
Yeah,
that about myself, but it's just I would call it just I'm adaptive. I'm fluid. I'm like water. I can just take the shape of whatever I need to be.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
like your answer. That was really cool.
Yeah, so being conscious about like, oh yeah, you totally can do that. Shifter, take the
Yep.
shape, but be
Yep.
aware of what is the purpose of doing that. Are you fully centered? Are you fully, is your
Mm.
cup filled? Are you loving yourself through the process? And then you do that. Oh yeah, the effects of that, like whoa, like beyond the sky. And people don't always realize,
Yeah.
and only the people who start working more, and then we go deeper and deeper. Many people who are already like have already known so much, and they work with me with the Starseed sessions, even with them, sometimes it takes a while. Like I'll see things or know things. I was like, okay, that's okay. They gotta go through the process, and then once they go through that, they're like, oh my gosh, you're a shapeshifter. I was like, yeah, you did that. It's like, for this purpose, I have no idea how much that was gonna help. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's okay.
Yeah.
Your time is right for you. You notice that, but I don't want to come off like scaring people, because
No.
hear
No.
that right away.
Hmm.
Most of the conditioning is that, oh, you're manipulative. Well, in a way, I am manipulating
It
people,
is. Yeah. Yeah.
not with the evil intent,
No.
and I'm doing it consciously. So if we're manipulating, we are working with the energies and shape and form. in order to help somebody,
Yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's yeah. There you go.
Good answer. Yay. Awesome.
All right. I hope this makes it so that we go.
No, it does. Yeah. This is going to be the longest one yet, but it's worth it. I'm pretty sure it'll flow just fine.
I know I'll probably rest my voice like for a week after this.
Yeah, yeah, for
And
real.
not because just of you, because I've been talking so much on other sessions.
Yeah, no, it's a lot for me doing this podcast, and between that and my clients and sessions, my voice is just like but anywho, once again, everyone who is still here,
I know, maybe.
like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we will talk soon in the next one. Mwah. Much love.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.